whenever there's an episodic series, you can bet two men will talk to you. AJ Talon and Owen Finch give their thoughts on Owen and AJ Talks.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Owen and AJ Talks. I'm Owen Finch, and I'm here with
AJ Talon, and today it's a very special video. It is our goal for 2024 in Avatar, and it's also the second two-parter in Avatar: The Last Airbender. So it is Book 1, Water, episodes 7 and 8, Winter Solstice, Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 is called, sorry, brain fart. It is called The Spirit World.
Yeah, it's called The Spirit World. I knew that, yeah. And then,
Oh, geez, what do you think is going to happen?
Someone's going into the Spirit World, I think. I don't know. Somebody is.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah. But then Part 2 is called, what's Part 2 called? Are we just going to wait until we actually review Part 2 to talk about it?
Owen, what happens in Part 2?
We meet Avatar Roku. I actually don't. I
There you
know.
go. That's right.
Is it called Avatar Roku? Actually,
Yeah, it's called Avatar Roku.
Well, I actually put that in my notes, just Avatar Roku. I didn't know that was the name. I actually didn't even know that was the name of the episode.
Yeah, that's the name of Part 2. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, overall, I'm happy.
It's also cool, by the way, a little tidbit. When we meet Avatar Roku, when we hear his voice for the first time, he's the narrator.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he is.
You know, the guy who goes previously on Avatar. That's Roku's voice, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm excited we're at this goal, though, because, we've been wanting to get this goal for a while. I actually didn't think we were going to get to this goal because, we went a while without reviewing Avatar. We went a while without reviewing Yellow Jackets. But I'm happy we're at this goal. All it really took was just us saying, hey, we're going to take a week to review a video, or to do a video once a week. And we were going to do this video legit Tuesday last week. But then obviously we just didn't get to it. But, I'm happy we're doing this now. I'm excited about this too because obviously this episode is kind of what sets up like the main plot throughout like the rest of the show. We find out about a significant thing that's going to happen, and it kind of, becomes like the main story because we've gotten like the main story with like the war. Aang has to master all the elements, but now we got like a big thing that honestly is like the big thing in the season finale, and kind of becomes, and I kind of like this too because now we got a couple episodes where Aang's messed around, did all the things he wanted to do, and as we talked about the last few times, there's a certain thing that was going to happen in the season finale, the four-parter, that not just season finale, series finale, that made it so that way they couldn't really just mess around anymore, type of thing. So
yeah. Because I do like you were pointing out, we've kind of been like fed information slowly but surely. Part 1 and Part 2 established the Fire Nations waging war with the other nations. Mm-hmm. So the idea is, okay, we gotta stop them. Kind of unclear how. King of Omashu says, "Aang, you gotta fight the Fire Lord." Cool. And then this is establishing like, okay, this is like the end goal of, okay, Sozin's come, it's gonna come. And it's going to power up the fire and benders, and then they'll be able to end the war. So,
yeah, so I like this.
And we also knew that the firebenders wiped out the air nomads. This established how they were able to do that by they used the power of the comet, and that like supercharged the firebending, and they were able to kill the air nomads. Except Gyatso, that motherfucker was like, "I'm killing every single one of you, including myself.
Yes,
everyone in this room dies, even me, no exceptions."
But yeah, I'm excited to review this episode, though, because, we talked about the last episode, when we went back and watched those ones, like, you were kind of disappointed with, the Warriors of Kyoshi. Originally, when you went back and watched
that one didn't hold up as well as I thought it did. And so this one, I feel like coming back to it held up to my memory pretty well.
Yeah. And, I actually, this is kind of like, we will say this too, this is like Dragon Ball. I would say this is more so. This is a better version than the episodes of Dragon Ball we just did, where the spirit world leads into Avatar Roku very well, because obviously they're doing like a little, I wouldn't really say a side mission, but like I kind of call it a side mission because it kind of what causes Aang to even see Roku's then. So
he's just kind of like helping out these people in this village. Like it was kind of just a coincidence, and that leads to him getting to like speak with Roku, which ends up being a big deal.
Yeah,
and like you said, they in Dragon Ball episode 2, they end up helping out that sea turtle get back to the ocean, and that ends up leading them to meet Master Roshi, who becomes a big character later in the show, and it also gets them a Dragon Ball.
I did say this one. I will say this one did it better, just because we didn't really know.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I didn't really know, because you don't really know that that's why 4 leads into 5, because obviously the turtle at the end you find out is with Master Roshi and everything like that.
Yeah. This one makes it pretty clear that like something big's going on. That one like sets it up like, oh, they're just doing a good little side mission, and it ends up like being a big deal, like by coincidence. Yeah.
So that could be
anyway.
By the way, that could be a what if Aang just decided not to do like this, or what if they didn't land in that village type of thing,
Yeah, they kind of just kept flying. It's like in the Ember Island players, they're like, let's just keep flying.
Yeah, but anyhow, before I know we kind of did a lot of introductory stuff there. Let's go through like when this episode came out, who wrote it, directed it, and all that.
Well, first off, this episode was written by the head writer of the whole show, Aaron Ehaz, Ehaszz. I don't know how to pronounce that. But this is his first episode writing since the two-parter, Boy in the Iceberg and Avatar Returns. And he's written some of the best episodes in the show. He ends up writing The Storm, Bitter Work, Siege of the North Part 2, Crossroads of Destiny, The Awakening, Day of Black Sun, and he wrote Part 2 of Sozin's Comet. So he ends up writing a lot of the like multi-part episodes.
That kind of makes sense, It kind of makes sense that he wrote this one too, because he probably I wonder if it was gonna be a 2-parter like originally, or if type of thing, and then they just did it that way anyways. Like I wonder how that kind of went.
But and this was directed by Lauren McMullen. She's from Massachusetts. Owen, we got a Bostonian here.
Nice.
She also ended up directing a lot of episodes like the Southern Air Temple, The Storm, The Deserter, Siege of the North Part 1. Zuko Alone, which is like might be my top 5 episodes. The Desert, which is also like maybe not top 5, but like top 10 easily. So she ends up directing for quite a few episodes in this show. Do you want to guess when this originally aired?
All right, so I know Avatar came out in 2004. No, it was 2005, because the last episode of the year was 2005.
Yeah, it started in 2004, but it ended up coming out moving into the next.
This is why I'm kind of pissed. We held off a week. If we did this last week, I probably would have gotten it right. I'm gonna say, since this episode is talking about like the summer, and I'm pretty sure when this episode came out, but it wasn't the summer though, because I remember the Great Divide.
So book 1 is set during winter. Book 2 is set during spring, and book 3 is set during summer.
No, I'm saying like when it came out type of thing. Like, I'm trying to remember like when it actually came out in the world.
I was just about to say, and it's called the Winter Solstice. What season do you think this episode came out? Not came out. When do you think it's set?
No, but I'm saying like I'm trying to think of when it came out.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud. But because I'm thinking, I remember the Great Divide. I was in 3rd grade when that came out, and I was like, I remember that was I think right before we went to Ireland the first time, or right after. I think it would have been after, because
of all the fucking episodes you remember, it's like, oh yeah, the Great Divide.
Well, I think my friend Steve and I were talking about it, so that's why I'm like kind of remembering it. And I remember the Great Divide shortly after, like that episode. Actually, I think it's the next. So the Waterbending Squall, I remember, is after this. So I am going to guess. After this, think of when in November we are. I'm going to guess October 27th, 2005.
Not even close. April 8th, 2005.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe. So it must have been the springtime then, because
Yeah. Well, think this season's set during winter. It would have been winter when they started the show.
Well, I was thinking 3rd grade. I was thinking so I must have just been finishing 3rd grade then versus starting it.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was in 3rd grade when this came out, and I was in 3rd grade, obviously, and Oh yeah, but if it's 2005, I shouldn't have said November. That was a bad call actually, because like
Yeah,
I
I think it came out 2004, but yeah, it
yeah.
extended into next year. But yeah, all right, this was a longer intro than I was expecting, so let's hop right into it. This one has a plot and B plot, which is actually hasn't happened for a while, because if you remember, episode 3 of the Southern Air Temple had a pretty big A B plot, but Kyoshi Island was pretty much just like what Aang and group were doing. Like Zuko was only barely in it. He wasn't in King of Omashu like at all, and similar thing where he only showed up at like the very end of In Prison. So this is our first episode for a little bit where Zuko was actually like a main focus.
I would say that. I would say more so Iowa was the focus there than Zuko, but I would say that, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're gonna talk about the B plot first, you know, and I'm gonna do a good bulk of the talking there, just because, you know, it kind of makes sense when we always try to do if there's an A and a B plot, one person will talk about it more so than the other. The B plot's at actually the beginning of what happens. We don't see it for like a few minutes, but you know we're just gonna talk about that first, because if we bounce back and forth, you know, obviously, it's gonna make the video come off very messy and everything like that. So we're just gonna do that first. Yeah, I will say this: there is gonna be bits where we see stuff from the A plot kind of cross over, but they don't really do anything like crazy. So we're just kind of like, when we mention it, we'll just mention, AJ will talk about that later and all that stuff. But yeah, let's get right into it. So the B plot starts when Zuko and I have landed just in the Earth Kingdom. And you know, I do like this, you know, because obviously it makes sense, because, you know, from the past couple of episodes, we've seen that Team Avatar has been in the Earth Kingdom, so it makes sense that they landed, like, in the Earth Kingdom, so I thought that made a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, because, yeah, in episode 3, they landed at, like, a Fire Nation port. So it seems like they try to stick to, like, Fire Nation territories where they can. But, yeah, as they're going, like, further into the Earth Kingdom, they kind of have to go into Earth Kingdom territory.
Yeah. Yeah, so Zuko's Russian.
Also, as we find out, Zuko's not even allowed in Fire Nation like waters.
So that makes sense why they're trying to kind of stick to like Earth Kingdom, like type of waters. Yeah. But yeah, Zuko is Russian. Iroh is just soaking in a hot tub. And I like how he did this. So essentially, this was like, you know, just a trail of water that like he heated himself to make a hot tub, which I do kind of like that, like, you know, they could just use the firebender to make water like warmer and everything like that. I think that's a nice use.
Yeah, because we were talking about that before. It's cool seeing whenever they do like bending, like not just for fighting, seeing them do like other applications to it, like seeing and because I don't think we've really seen this yet, where like you know, we've just seen them like shoot fireballs. It's cool seeing they can just like make their breath hot, essentially.
Yeah, and I do like this because it becomes if you remember like, you know, in I think it's the Serpent's Pass or the Drill episode, this kind of ends up backfiring on Zuko.
Yeah. Or like he's like heating water. Yeah.
So yeah, you know, Zuko's Russian Iroh, because obviously he doesn't want to lose the Avatar's trail, and obviously Iroh, you know, this kind of goes back to episode 1 where he's just trying to tell Zuko to like be patient and like just soak his troubles away and everything like that. And obviously Zuko's desperate because obviously he wants to catch the Avatar. I mean, we talk about this, we still don't even know why he's so obsessed with catching the Avatar yet. I feel like we're kind of you know, taking that for granted type of thing, you know, because we know why. So,
yeah, because we only got like a little bit of a hint on it in like episode 1, where Zuko said like his honor depends on finding the Avatar, but we don't know specifically what that meant.
So yeah, you know, I was about to get out of the hot tub, but Zuko could see that he's like naked, so Zuko doesn't want to like, you know, he wants to live. He doesn't want to have it like his teenage brain like haunted type of thing. So he's like, you know what? You could just take like an extra like few minutes. But he says like pretty much be back at the ship in a half hour, or he's gonna leave without him. So then later on, I was sleeping, so he clearly missed his curfew, and we see like a mouse pops up.
I like how you say curfew, like Zuko's the parent, like deciding like when Iroh has to go to bed.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, that's kind of what Zuko was doing here. So
yeah.
And you know, at first, I think what we hear is like, we hear like rumbling, as if like an earthquake's about to like hit. But it wakes up Iroh, but then the mouse shows up, and Iroh's like, well, I guess because he even says it. I guess I missed my nephew's curfew, so that's why I think I said it because Iroh said it. And I liked this because the mouse is like jumping up and down, like trying to, as if something like a big attack's about to happen. And then we see Earthbenders show up. We don't see them show up at first, but then we see like the water disappears and like a landslide forms in the hot tub, and it obviously takes all the water out and everything like that. And we see that these are earthbending soldiers, they instantly know that he's from the Fire Nation, and one of them who's like the leader. We never find out these guys' names, by the way, so we can add them to the list now too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they're not old, that breaks the mold. Typically the older,
You're right. These guys are, like in their 30s, young strapping men.
So
I like how they instantly know who he is too. They're like, one of them's like, "Oh shit, we captured a firebender," and the main guy is like, "No, this isn't just any firebender. This is the Dragon of the West, the guy who fucking attacked our capital city for over a year and is the Fire Lord's brother."
And I did like this too because we got to get a little bit more of like a backstory about like Iroh. We haven't really gotten that yet, so I like that.
Yeah, because Zhao really respected him, and I think he called him like General Iroh, Dragon of the West, in episode 3. But this is our first like hint that he was like a really, really like accomplished general.
Yeah. So they basically capture him, and Iroh has nowhere to go because he's stuck in like the earth bending and everything like that, underneath the rocks and everything like that. Good thing, I guess, they didn't do enough to like, hurt his ribs or like torture him or anything like that. Because obviously I think there was enough space between like the rocks where like he couldn't get out type of thing. So,
yeah, well, it seemed to be like he couldn't like move, like they had him pinned. So like he couldn't really like move his arms to firebend.
But I kind of like this because, in a weird way, the way we're seeing it is the Earth. I kind of like how Avatar does this too, because the Earthbenders aren't really villains here. They're kind of just taking justice, but obviously they are villains because they don't know that Iroh is turned his life around and had a face turn and everything like that. So.
Yeah, true. Iroh is like a good guy, but again, when they're like talking to him, they're speaking. Like when they say they're going to bring him to Ba Sing Se for justice, they're saying like we're taking you to the site of your great failure, where you tried to get into the city for like over a year.
So I like that.
From their perspective, this is like, guys, you just captured Hitler.
Yeah.
Like from their perspective.
But what did you think, before I kind of talk about everything else, what did you think, obviously, of everything that happened in the B-plot up until Iroh got captured and everything like that?
I like it, again, just kind of setting up, like, because Zuko's, like, an asshole, and he's always, like, yelling at his uncle. So I kind of, like, similar thing here, where he's, like, getting pissed at his uncle. We get a little comedy bit where, Iroh is about to let his firecrackers, run in the breeze, and Zuko was like, yeah, I'm not trying to scar my other eye. Just come back later, fully clothed. And then he got ambushed by firebenders. It is kind of weird that Zuko didn't come back for him after a half hour, because Iroh was like, "Oh, did Zuko leave without me?" And then his men, when they do go to check on Iroh, they're like, "Huh, maybe he left because he thought you left without him."
Right.
So it is kind of weird. Like after the deadline, Zuko didn't like go back to like get pissed at him.
Yeah, so that was weird, but I could kind of overlook
it.
It
looks like the sun was kind of setting, and then like when he woke up, it was dark, so he probably wasn't gone that long.
Yeah. But yeah, so later in the night, Zuko comes back, and he's asking like where his uncle is, and one of his shipmates is like, well, maybe he thought you left without him. And I like Zuko pieces this together, like he notices like the landslide, and he's like, he notices that like rocks don't just form naturally like that, so he realizes that like his uncle got captured by earthbenders, and he has to like go save him pretty much. So we see that Ivo is being taken. I mean, this is the first time we see, I don't know what they call it in the show. I think they say it, but, like, it's like those camel things, but they have, like, 2 legs instead of, like, 1 leg type of thing. It's like that animal that they get in, like, season 2. I don't remember the name. I have, like, 5 of those outside my house right now. I don't remember what they're called.
Oh, yeah. A million of them. Fucking, like termites everywhere.
Yeah. But I forget what they're called. But it's like a camel and the, like, I don't know what they're called.
The ostrichors.
Yeah, the ostrichors. So, I like this too. That this is the first time we're seeing them because that's a big. And I like too that it shows like each nation has like their own animal they use for travel. The air nomads or the bison, the firebenders or the rhinos, and then I forget what the waterbenders use. I don't think. I guess the ships.
The waterbenders. We don't really see them use like rides really.
Because they don't even... Hey, we probably would have if they had spent more time in the North Pole.
Yeah, if they actually got to fucking see more of the water tribe, yeah. But yeah. The Firebenders use, like, the rhinos and stuff. Earth King... Yeah, like you said, Earth Kingdoms use the, the ostrich horses, and Airbenders have the bisons, yeah.
So, yeah, I like that each nation has, like, an animal that represents, like, them type of thing.
So... Well, we, not quite, because, remember, like, the badger moles we end up finding out are, like, the real first Earthbenders. The ostrich horse is just, like, what they use for, like, transportation.
Yeah.
And then same with firebenders. The firebenders are the dragons, but all the dragons are gone, as we find out later.
Yeah.
So, obviously no one's riding those.
I was about to say Ainro one, but that one was dead. So.
Aside from Roku, we find out rides one, but again, also dead.
Well, that was my reference actually. So.
Yeah.
But we see later. We see later on. That the Earthbender soldiers, I was acting all confused, and he's like wondering like where you're taking him, where he's being taken, and then Leader says that he's being taken to Ba Sensei, which I like this because it's the first time we've heard the mention of Ba Sensei, and it becomes very important in season 2, and we actually spent some time there. So
unlike the North Pole, we actually got to fucking know the city. Yeah,
I like how we just took a unnecessary shot at Avatar for no reason.
Listen, for how they do the North Pole, it's deserved.
I know, but I do like this because we find out that Iroh, before he even mentions that Ba Sensei by name, we find out that Iroh and his men had sieged it for over 600 days. So 2
years, yeah.
Yeah, so I like that. Again, finding out more about his backstory, and obviously we're gonna find out more about this later. So I do like that.
Yeah. Well, I also like here it's established as a failure, that he had to retreat, and here it's kind of implied that he lost because his military couldn't compete with the Earth Kingdom. Well, later on, we find out that the reason he retreated was because his son died.
Yeah.
So it was less that he retreated because he couldn't win, but more so because he just emotionally he was just done.
But yeah, I was acting all.
And to be fair, he kind of says that here, where he's like, "Hey, I acknowledge my defeat. After 600 days, all my men were tired.
Yeah,
I was tired. We all missed home."
That's true. But yeah, so he's playing the old, the old guy confused type of thing. So he falls off the ostrich and falls to the ground. That must not have felt great, but Ivo took that like a champ. So
yeah.
And the Earthbender soldiers go to grab him, and we see that his flip flop was left behind. But I do like this because afterwards, Ivo gets a serious angry look on his face. Obviously he's playing them pretty much. He's acting like an old confused guy, but really he's outmaneuvering them. And I really like this too because because Ivo does this a lot throughout the obviously the biggest one he does is obviously in season 3 when he's in prison where he's act like he's old and
he acts which I feel like that's another anime trope that the old man who is helpless but he's actually a badass. Well, not just anime. Karate Kid did that, where Mr. Miyagi is supposed to be this old guy who works at the hotel, but he's actually a karate master. Master Roshi, in Dragon Ball so far, he just seems like a perverted old guy, but he ends up being a fucking badass. Same with Iroh,
I mean, like you said they're friends. I mean, obviously, we just saw Boomy last episode acting like an old, frail, like, kin.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Boomy. Yeah. Yeah, and they end up being buddies. Yeah, that is funny.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, but like you said, Iroh was doing a good job here. Like you said, he left this sandal on the ground so Zuko could find it. And yeah, you're right. Pretty much this whole time, he's just trying to, like, delay these guys as much as he can without, like, coming off as, like, too much of a threat.
What I did like about this, too, because this is only season 1, so, like, we haven't even, like, seen Iroh, like, you kind of wonder, like, you kind of know he's doing something here, but you don't exactly know what his tactics are, because, again, it's only book 1, so, like, you don't really know. So this kind of, shows that Iroh, thinks smartly and doesn't think, like, with brute force, which is what he's been kind of, like, telling Zuko and everything like that.
I do love how, and it's funny, because this happens, and then a couple episodes later in the storm, we see him redirect lightning. And, like, it's just a really quick scene, but, like, that was the first time we'd seen it, and then we don't actually learn more about lightning bending till, like, book 2.
Yeah, so
it's like, Iroh is, like, already, this whole season is kind of just, like, showing there's more to him than meets the eye.
Yeah. So then, Zuko finds his, flip-flop, and I like it, too, because he smells, it's like, yeah, that's Uncle Iroh type of thing, like, he smelled his flip-flops before.
I also like we found out that Zuko ends up keeping this.
Oh, he does? I actually forgot it. I didn't
remember in Sozin's comment, we see Zuko kept this on him, like, when they try to find Iroh.
Oh, yeah, because that's how they, because they get that, like, creature that can, like, smell scents and everything like that.
So Zuko keeps Iroh's sandal. Remember, their ship blows up towards the end of book 1, but Zuko still kept the sandal. Of all the things he kept from that ship, he kept the sandal. When they're traveling through the Earth Kingdom in book 2, like, on, by themselves, nothing to carry their stuff with, he kept the sandal. And then even in book 3, when he goes back to the Fire Nation and when he leaves the Fire Nation, he keeps the fucking sandal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Toph even points out, in a weird way, it's kind of sweet.
It really is, yeah. But yeah, so then, the next episode, the next scene anyways, we see that, I'm jumping ahead. So yeah, Zuko's still walking on the Rhino, and we see Appa flying because obviously Team Avatar's. We find out later. I'm not too far away from them, and obviously you'll talk about where they are and what they're doing in the A plot. But I really like this here. Zuko has, like, an opportunity, and he doesn't even know that Aang's not even in there. It's just Katara that's on there. But to him, he has
his perspective, Aang's on there. Yeah.
Yeah, he has an opportunity to go after the Avatar, but now he has to, like, make a choice. He's at, like, a crossroads here. He either goes after the Avatar or he goes saves his uncle.
And you might say he's at a crossroad of destiny.
He could be.
Yeah. Hopefully, if he ever had another crossroad of destiny, he would make the right choice, Owen.
Yeah, so, but I do like that they cut from it. You don't really know which one he chose, type of thing. Then, I actually didn't jump ahead, actually. I forgot this scene happened first and then this scene, but, like, I figured you would just talk about it all together, so.
Yeah.
But I will, he's still being ridden and taken to Ba Sing Se, and this is, like, the next day. And
by the way, I'm pretty sure they're still far as fuck from Ba Sing Se, so, like, these guys were going to be taking Iroh for a while.
Yeah. And he still delayed them. Like, he was delaying them as much as he could, so.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like, presumably, like, it just would have taken, like, the trip still would have taken, like, maybe a couple weeks, but, like, still, like, the more Iroh delays them, the better chance Zuko has of catching up. Yeah.
So, I will see something, and again, you'll talk about what he sees when we get to the A plot. And the men are like, is there something wrong? And I was just like, oh yeah, because I didn't mention this too. He's also chained up, so, like, he can't, like, use his firebender or anything like that. So
yeah,
I would mention that, like, these chains on him are, like, too loose. He thinks they like. I like how he's just bullshitting here. Like, he's just like, they jiggle around and they really hurt my bones and everything like that.
To be fair, I do like that he says, like, they're too loose. Like, I think if he said they were too tight and hurting his wrists, they wouldn't give a shit. but because he's saying they're too loose, the guy's thinking like, okay, I should probably tighten them just in case.
Yeah. So one of the men go to tighten them, and I got him too. I like this because he did this earlier, so he did it here. He uses his fire bending to just his breath to heat up the cuffs, and when the guy touches him, they're like, obviously it's metal too, so it's gonna be hot as hell. So the guy touches it, it almost melts his hand and burns his hand off, type of thing.
I do like that we see Iroh, like the guy puts his hand on, and then Iroh puts like his other hand on top of him, so he can't let go.
Yeah, I liked that. And
that was a nice little detail.
Iroh, gets off the ostrich, and he starts shooting firebending. And I do like to I think Iroh you knew wasn't going to escape here, but he comes pretty damn close. He almost escapes by himself.
I wouldn't say escape because he's still chained up. I think is important to mention. Like you said, he heated his shackle and burned the other guy.
Yeah.
He's still chained up, and when he shoots a fireball, he has to do a backflip essentially and use his feet because his feet are chained up too.
Yeah. So
and he kind of just hops over and rolls over a nearby cliff.
Yeah.
So I don't think he was ever gonna get away. I think the idea was just to delay them.
Yeah. So yeah, he rolls down the hill, and eventually the Earthbenders shoot a landslide down the cliff and essentially stop Iroh's fall, and he's trapped in a hurdle of rocks. And
imagine this killed Iroh.
I don't think they would have cared. So
yeah, I know, right? And the thing is, I'm pretty sure Jet fucking got killed by less. So really, Iroh's a badass.
Yeah, he is. But yeah, so the soldiers realized that Iroh's too dangerous, to be taken to the city. So they realized that
he's too dangerous to be left alive.
Yeah,
another Star Wars joke you're not gonna get.
So the main soldier was just yeah, we're gonna have to deal with them. Yeah, I like this escape scene here. I like that Iroh, again, he knew he wasn't going to try to escape, or he knew he wasn't going to be successful in this escape, but this one, again, was just to delay them so that way Zuko could catch up to them, type of thing.
Yeah, that's the thing, because like you said, they realized, okay, he's too dangerous to go all the way to Ba Sing Se with him. We're going to have to deal with him here.
Yeah.
So this whole, it came pretty close. Iroh almost got his hands crushed. But, in a way, I think this is what Iroh wanted. Basically, just, keep himself here in this one spot as long as he could. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, the main Earthbender soldier is getting ready to crush Iroh's hands with a giant rock using Earthbend. And Iroh's hands are, they're, being held there, too. So, he can't really, he's trapped. And I think he's...
It's also funny because Iroh just kicked all their asses without his hands. Remember, he used his breath and his feet to fuck them over. But they're okay, we gotta crush his hands, and it's buddy, he just whooped all of your asses without his hands.
The only reason they even caught him was because they shot rocks down a cliff type of thing.
Right.
So, but Zuko made the right choice. He shows up and drop kicks. Pretty much or martial arts kicks the rock right before it crushes Iroh's hands.
Imagine he just he goes to kick the rock and he just fucking breaks his leg.
Yeah, because it lands on him type of thing. Yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah, well, because remember the rock is above him, and then Zuko comes in from the side and kicks the boulder away, but it's a big fucking boulder.
Yeah.
Imagine he just remember that scene in book 2 where Sokka tries to kick the door open and it he just bounces off of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens to Zuko here.
So Iroh and Zuko uses another kick. I never realized Zuko's very. You find this does make more sense here. Zuko's very athletic, obviously, and it makes more.
Yeah, we're gonna see that in 3 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. So they kind of it's kind of fun. That's why it's fun to go. Yeah, that's why it's fun to come back and watch these to you could kind of see they were kind of setting up there was something more to Zuko than just bending here and everything like that.
I do like that Iroh praises him too. He's excellent form, Prince Zuko, and Zuko says you trained me well. Because if you remember, that was a big thing in the first couple episodes where Zuko was not liking Iroh's training, and Iroh kept telling him have good form, keep like steady on the ground, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that was callback here. However, though they're still outnumbered. Though it's only two. It's two against. Did they say was there 4 of them or like 5 of them? I think there was 4.
I think 5.
Yeah. But I like what Iowa says here. Is like, yes, that may be true, but you're outmatched. Which honestly, Iowa wasn't wrong because like we talked about, Iowa kicked their asses even without Zuko like there type of thing.
Yeah.
So, and I really like the fights here. You know, I was still also chained up too. Like, you know, his feet are chained up. All he has is really his hands free now at this point. So they're doubly fucked now, type of thing. So,
yeah. Well, it's funny. Like, Iroh ends up turning the chains on him into his advantage because at one point during the fight, a guy chucks a boulder. Iroh, he's like, should I shoot fire at the guy? No, I'm gonna take this chain, fucking whip it, like lasso it like a goddamn cowboy across the boulder and just fucking whip it back at the earthbender.
I'm pretty sure too, and then, you know, Zuko's using firebending on him, but the way that Iowa beats the main guy is pretty cool. He's about to like throw a bolt, like use his earthbending and throw a boulder at like Zuko, and Iowa like, you know, wraps his chain like around his legs and makes him like drop the boulder on him type of thing.
Yeah, that was cool. So yeah, it was really cool. Iroh like turned his disadvantage into the advantage.
Yeah, but you know, again,
Zuko does some cool shit during this fight too. Zuko has done a lot of getting his ass kicked by Aang, so it's kind of nice to see him like actually like win a couple fights.
Yeah, and I do like to that, like, you know, even though it ends up kind of not being a big deal, the fact that, you know, Zuko chose Iroh versus like, you know, going after the Avatar kind of made him not like a one-note villain. It showed that there's more that meets the eye. Like, he's still like, you know, he's somewhat, you know, obviously because we know more about his character, he's not like a one-note villain. There's like, you know, he's just complex.
Yeah, because we got a little bit of that in episode 3, but I think this was like a much bigger idea of like, okay, Zuko isn't like all bad. Like, he, you know, even though he's kind of shitty to him, he does care about Iroh.
Yeah. And I did like, by the way, you know, Zuko seeing the Avatar, like the bison there, because obviously the next episode he goes to that town, and like, you know, threatens them. It did show that it wasn't just a coincidence that Zuko just went to this one town. Like, he probably saw like, okay, the Avatar was in this area, so like he had to have been to this town type of thing. So I do like that, you know, him seeing the Avatar. But yeah, I really like the B plot between you know, with Zuko and Iroh. Like, I like that we got to find out more about Iroh's backstory. We got to learn about Iroh, kind of like his strategy when it comes down to taking down his enemies. And I like that we got to kind of see Zuko in a different light here.
Even though I was making a joke about the crossroad of destiny, it is kind of funny how, like, again, you know, like, situation is basically Zuko has a choice between, you know, helping Iroh or like restoring his honor and capturing Aang. And here he chose to help Iroh. But, you know, that makes the decision he makes later in the show more tragic, you know?
Yeah.
That, like, he made the right decision here, and then he fucking went back on it.
I do like to, like, he was kind of rewarded for it in a way, making the right decision here, too. Because if he chose to go after the Avatar, it would have been for nothing, because there would have been no Avatar. Like, would have been no Avatar.
Right, yeah. Like, yeah, Aang wasn't even there, yeah.
So, you know. What do you think of the B plot overall? Before we talk about,
I really liked it. I think Avatar's been a really good job at like doing great B and A plots.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because Sokka and Aang's plots in Kyoshi Island was really good. You know, obviously in Southern Air Temple, the A and B plots were amazing. Because I think we've complained about like in Ben 10, Danny Phantom, Yellow Jackets, RVB, like pretty much every show we've done there's definitely like a big difference between the A and B plots.
Yeah.
But Avatar has done a really good job of making both really interesting.
And I think this clearly was a B plot, but it was still a pretty
the A plot was more interesting, but like this wasn't like oh man, I wish they would cut away from Zuko and Iroh and go back to Aang. I was interested in both.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, it kind of sets up like again, this B plot in a weird way kind of sets up like Zuko and Iroh, what they'll do in the next episode also kind of too. So
yeah. But Owen, you said the Avatar is in the area. Gee, I wonder what he's up to. Probably nothing. He's probably just taking a nap, taking it easy.
Well, he kind of was taking a nap actually. So
yeah. So they were just kind of chilling through the sky, you know, flying around. And they're kind of just like staring at the clouds. Because keep in mind, this is what they're doing all day. Like when they're off camera, They're just fucking flying all day. That shit's got to be so boring.
I bet they're happy when those cameras get turned on.
Huh?
I bet they're happy when those cameras get turned on. That means like, yeah, we get to land for a change type of thing. So
yeah, I know, right? Or like we saw last episode where they're just fucking chilling in the forest, like eating nuts and rocks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're flying through the sky and they're just talking about like, the clouds. They're pretty. And then pretty funny where he just like jumps off Appa and like lands through the cloud and like flies back on his glider. And he's like, "Hey, it turns out clouds are made of water."
Yeah, I liked that scene. It was fun.
I feel like he probably already knew that. He just wanted to do it anyway.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that. This episode taught me that the clouds are just made of water. I didn't know that until I saw this episode.
Really? Okay, cool. That's interesting.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, but they're kind of just flying around, and they noticed like a big, like black spot of like the nearby mountain area. It's like a valley.
Mm-hmm.
No, like they even say it looks like a scar. So they go and land, and it's just all the trees, all the forest is just burnt in this whole valley, and even the ground is just like ash. You know, like it's not even like soil; it's just ash.
Mm-hmm.
The firebenders have just come through here and burned the whole area down. Essentially, we never really found out why they did that. I guess they were just kind of like trying to get through the area, and they were just like, "Hey, squirrel, go fuck yourself." You know, I like to think, you know, because we never actually see the firebenders. I like to think this was Ben. You know, this is the forest Ben was in episode 1.
Yeah.
When he turned into.
Yeah. And he accidentally set the whole thing on fire. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd
be funny if it wasn't even the firebenders. It was just Ben, like he time traveled or whatever for like that one.
Yeah,
episode.
exactly. He just traveled to this universe and fucking turned into heat blast. Yeah. Or like, yeah, it was just an earthbender. An earthbender kid was just like fucking around with a lighter, and he's like, oh, whoops.
Yeah. Well, a firebender in training, that would have been cool. He just accidentally sets his place on fire. I do like this though, because it shows like how savage like the firebenders kind of are. Just like there was really nothing they could have gained from taking like this little area, but they just burned it down to the ground anyways, type of thing.
It's crazy too, because like the town nearby, it wasn't like last episode where they were like occupied by the Fire Nation. They were still like an Earth Kingdom village. So the firebenders were like fucking up the forest, and they're like, "Hey, there's a town nearby. Should we like take it over?" And they're like, "No, let's just keep burning trees."
Yeah.
And I like how Sokka's like genuinely really pissed off, you know, because you know obviously he hates Fire Nation. He's like, "Those goddamn firebenders, you know, like they're savages. They're ruthless.
Yeah, like
you know, those goddamn flamios." Sokka's a little racist. It's okay.
He has every right. He has every right to be in this case.
Yeah, and I like how Katara tells him to calm down, and Sokka's like, "What? Am I not allowed to be upset?" But then they look over at Aang, and Aang is just like kind of on the ground, like slumped over, upset.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like he's kind of reminded of the Southern Air Temple. Remember how he used to talk about how like you know it was so like alive and so many people and animals were there.
Yeah.
And now it was just became a bunch of dead plants and weeds and like you know nothing's there anymore.
Yeah.
So similar, and he feels responsible, kind of like with the Southern Air Temple, where he was gone for so long, and he feels like he could have prevented this if he didn't get frozen, if he didn't run away. Because remember, we don't know he ran away at this point.
Right. So like he's probably thinking of those emotions, and you know, he's thinking to himself too, like you know, I could have prevented this forest from being burnt down, and. You know, type of
and
thing.
He just feels like, I remember, he didn't even want to be the Avatar, but he's like, I'm the Avatar, I have to deal with it. It's like, I'm doing such a bad job. Like, I'm supposed to be, well, I do like this, because we've, like, established the Avatar is supposed to, like, keep peace between people.
Yeah.
But here, Aang talks about how he's also, like, supposed to be, like, the guardian of nature. Basically, like, he's supposed to protect nature as well.
Yeah.
And that he's the person in town calls him the bridge between the spirit world and the like physical world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just that like Aang's supposed to keep balance between the nations. He's supposed to keep balance between like everything.
Yeah. And I like how he has a conversation here, like where he mentions that like he doesn't even know how to be the Avatar, because it's kind of a conversation too that an Avatar you don't really think of, because like you could learn all the bending and stuff, but no one could teach you how to be like the Avatar type of thing, because obviously the Avatar before you always passes away, and if you don't know how to contact...
Yeah, there's never two avatars at once, yeah. And remember in the Southern Air Temple, with that flashback with Gyatso, we find out normally the Avatar finds out they're the Avatar at 16. But they're talking about how Aang got told early.
Yeah. And we find
But
out.
like, we don't know yet why. Well, I mean, obviously me and you know why, but like they haven't revealed that in the show yet.
Yeah. And I think too, like, there was clearly supposed to be a plan, because Gyatso even said, like, when you're ready, you'll meet him. So I'm assuming Aang was supposed to be, like, taught how to actually, like, as we find out later, like, contact Roku or, like, any past Avatar, like...
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah, remember, Gyatso said, like, he'll meet someone in that secret room who could help him with being the Avatar. And remember, Aang goes in there, and he finds Momo. But remember, it's, like, the statues of all the Avatars. So I think it was implied that, like, what Gyatso was talking about was that, like, when Aang's ready, he'll go into that room, and, like, he'll, like, see all the statues of the Avatars.
Yeah.
And then, like, he could, like, learn to, like, communicate them that way.
But obviously, that didn't happen for...
Yeah.
Well, an episode we'll get to.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think Aang mentions that, like, Gyatso told him he'll speak to Roku, or like Roku's supposed to help him, and Sokka's confused. He's like, the Avatar before you, like, he's dead? He's been dead for over 100 years. How is he supposed to help you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but while they're kind of just there, sad, Katara kind of finds the light in the situation where where Momo's like digging up a bunch of acorns, and Katara finds one. She says, like, "Hey, Aang, look, this forest, it's gone for now, but like all these acorns here are still intact. Like eventually, these acorns will grow, and like the forest will grow back. It's going to take a long time, but like it's not gone forever. Like it'll eventually heal."
Yeah. I like that. That kind of made Aang feel better. And it ties into the plot later on, type of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this ends up being a good lesson. Excuse me. I'm so, like, burpy. I don't know why. But an old guy, also unnamed, these shows hate old people. It's like, hey, we have an old character. What should we name him? Shut the fuck up. Don't name him.
Yeah. Well, the Earth Kingdom soldiers were pretty young. They didn't get names, so I mean,
Yeah, that was like the one guy. Like, okay, look, fine. We won't give the old guy a name, but to even it out, we're not going to name the Earth Kingdom soldiers. And he's like, fine, whatever.
Yeah, why not?
He was going to name them Rocky, all of them Rocky.
Rocky's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Exactly, they're all brothers. Or, they're the movies, Rocky.
Yeah.
The old guy's like, hey, Avatar, we need your help. They go to this, like, town, and, like, a lot of the buildings are, like, kind of smashed up, and all of the people are, like, in one, like, the main building.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, my God, you're the Avatar. By the way, the old guy saw the flying bison. That's why he went to go find Aang.
Yeah, so I like that he wasn't...
Because it would be kind of convenient if the old guy was just, like, going on a little stroll through the fucking burnt-down forest. He's like, oh shit, that kid has arrows. I guess it's the Avatar.
Yeah, so I like that you saw the bison. And I do like before, because they mentioned all the buildings and stuff had been thin. He mentions that the village had been, like, attacked. We always talk about this off camera. I think that we talk about all the time that, like, Ben 10 has a bad sense of doing. It's because they're traveling. A bad thing will only happen when they go to that area. I do like...
Yeah, but, like, whereas, like, this has been happening for a while, yeah.
Yeah. Or, like, when they went to that, the last episode, when they went to, like, Haru's village. I'm saying Haru's village like it's his village, but it's not his village.
Yeah, he owns it, yeah. It's not even his dad owns the village, it's like him, he owns the village, the fucking 15-year-old kid.
Yeah. But, yeah, when they go to that village, though, like, the Firebenders had already taken it over. They didn't just do it because they were going there, type of thing.
Yeah, and they had been there for, like, a couple of years. Although this one's a little convenient, because we found out Heibai has been kidnapping people for, like, only a couple days.
Yeah, that's a little convenient, but at least it's, Like,
yeah, it had been happening a little bit. Like, it's not, like, permanent retirement, or, like, they had started kidnapping people, like, literally, like, the day before Ben got there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I told you, too, before we viewed that episode, I thought it had already happened by the time they got there, but no, it was like...
Yeah, like, I thought that, too. I thought, like, they had been, like, infiltrating for a while. It's like, no, it was, like, literally, like, the day they got there.
Yeah, so at least here it's, like, 3 or 4 days, so...
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, you talk about this part.
Oh, okay.
I was like kind of silent, like, oh, and I'm trying to stick to the notes here.
Oh no! You're gonna have to change it because remember we said you're talking about the main story. You're talking about the Spirit World story.
Oh, okay, sorry.
'Cause I talked about
So, yeah.
I talked about I talked about the Iowa story like all at once. So if it kind of makes sense for you to talk all about this.
Fair enough. So, Aang is talking with this slightly younger old guy who also doesn't have a name. You know, it's like anyone over 40 is like doesn't have a name. So this guy's like 41. So he, just sorry, dude, you don't get a name. You just barely don't qualify.
What if it's like his birthday, like the day of they write this episode type of thing, like
No exceptions. It's your birthday that day, April 8th, 2005. Sorry, dude. You get your name privileges revoked. So yeah, this guy's like, oh my god, the Avatar! Thank God you're here. It's a little weird that you're a small child because aren't you supposed to be like over 100? But whatever. Again, it is kind of a little weird that like these some people bring it up. It's like weird that Aang's a kid, but it is kind of weird some people don't bring it up.
Yeah.
This guy, because again, as far as I know, these people should know Aang should either be over 100 or he should be like a waterbender.
Right.
Like it's weird. It's like, okay, so you're an airbender and you're also a child. Okay, it's a little weird, but all right.
Yeah.
I
like
no, these guys don't give a fuck.
Zuko seems the only one that gives a shit about that type of thing. So
he was like weirded out that Aang was a kid. He was like, "Why are you a kid?"
Yeah.
Everyone else was just like, "Oh, he got frozen in an iceberg." Listen, happened to my buddy Frank last week. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
There's a boy in an iceberg outside my window right now. It's too dark. I'm not gonna show you.
Chilling with the boy with the monkey tail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the boy in the iceberg has a monkey tail. Those are a little rarer, but I see them every now and again. But yeah. So the guys like the spirit Heibai has been coming to this village, wrecking shit, and like been kidnapping one person each night, and so like 3 people are gone at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And they mention how the winter solstice is coming, like in like 2 days. And this is a big deal because the bridge between the physical world and the spirit world are like really close during the winter solstice.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, if Heibai is like causing this much destruction now, imagine how much more powerful he'll be, like when like the spirit world is even closer to the physical world.
Yeah.
Because he's just been kidnapping people, and these guys don't know why he's been kidnapping people. So they're just like, as far as I know, Heibai's just being a dick.
Right.
They don't know he's upset about the forest. They're just like, oh man, Heibai's an asshole. But they're like, he's gonna be an even bigger asshole in a couple days.
Yeah.
And this is cool because this is our first time we've like really heard about like the spirit world.
Yeah. I like this. Yeah.
Yeah. The guy says Aang should be able to help because he is the bridge between the physical world and the spirit world.
Yeah, I like that, and I like that Aang. He agrees to help, but he doesn't really know like what to do, type of thing. He's just kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, I'll help you. And Katara's like, so how are you gonna help? And he's like, I don't know. And they both look at him like, and he's like, hey, listen, no one told me how to do this shit.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because he was even saying that earlier. I'm like, guys, I'm like 12. I have no fucking clue how to be the Avatar.
But I like that he's still gonna help, even though he doesn't really know what to do. It's just kind of like, kind of shows that Aang's a good dude and everything like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Imagine our hero, everybody. These guys are like, please, Avatar, you have to help us. This evil spirit is kidnapping people, and he's just like, nah, fuck you.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I know, right? Bye.
I mean,
I guess we'll have to fucking get eaten by the spirit.
I mean, the Great Divide. He makes up a complete story about like why the two like groups hate each other.
I know, right?
So it's like,
but Heibai's been coming by every night, like after the sun sets. So Aang comes out as the sun's setting, and he's like waiting for Heibai to show up. And I like how Aang's like, when Heibai actually shows up, Aang doesn't want to fight him. So I think Aang's just going out there to like speak with him. And also, I don't think it's established they like told Aang what Heibai looked like. So I think Aang was just like expecting like a kind of normal sized spirit or something.
Yeah.
And then this fucking giant comes out.
I do
but
like the
nothing
reveal.
comes out.
I do like the reveal of him too. He's like a black and white, like giant, like beast type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
Oh, yeah,
I see those 5 times a day, by the way. So,
all the time. I saw one 3 today, and Tuesday's a little you get less of them on Tuesday. But yeah.
I mean, that's why we've been having all those storm. That's why we're having all those hurricanes. It wasn't hurricanes. It was Haybye. It was
There's just Haybye coming through. Yeah. Aang, nothing comes up, and Aang is like, "All right, spirit, be gone." He's like, "Okay, cool. I guess I did it." Imagine that was the end. Like Haybye just didn't come back.
No, Haybye just decided like he was just gonna take the day off that night, and like he waited till Aang left, like Aang and the crew left to come back.
Yeah.
Like,
but yeah, the Aang starts walking back to the hall. He's like, "Okay, I guess he didn't show up. Fuck the people who got kidnapped, I guess." But then Haybye actually does show up, like as Aang turns around, and like you said, he looks super fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like black and white beast, super interesting design. And he just starts like, I like how Aang is like, "Hey, you must be Haybye. What's up?" And then Haybye just like screams in his face, and I love this thing they do with Haybye whenever he screams, like this like blue kind of wave comes out. Like I don't even know how to describe it.
I would call it like blue like energy comes out of his like mouth.
Yeah, like blue like echo energy. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like almost like like a less good version of the ghostly whale, I guess is what I would call that. Like.
Yeah. But like, it doesn't seem to hurt Aang. Like it's just like a cool effect.
Yeah.
And then Haybye kind of just like starts ignoring Aang and starts just smashing all the buildings. And I love this thing they do with Haybye. Like he doesn't like walk like normal. Like he has this like beat effect. Like he leaves like kind of like a blue after image whenever he walks. And it's just like it's cool. Like it also it looks like he's teleporting. Like he doesn't walk. He just like kind of teleports around and like he leaves that like blue trail.
And this looked good, like, back then. It still holds up really well with this, like, 2024 right now.
And I think it's cool because, like, he's a spirit. Like, he's, like, not from this world. I like that they're making it seem like he is, like, otherworldly,
Yeah. I like that.
Like, even just the way he moves is, like, strange. And yeah, Aang is trying to, like, talk to him, calm him down, be peaceful. But, and Sokka's, like, in the window, like, being like, "Aang needs our help. We can't just sit here and do nothing." And the old guy and Katara are trying to calm him down.
Yeah. I like Sokka here like a lot, by the way, because like I like how Sokka.
Yeah, I love that he's trying to back up Aang. Like he's pissed off that like Aang, because when Aang walks out there, like the first thing he says is like Aang shouldn't have to do this by himself.
Yeah. So I liked that.
And yeah, but also I do like how these idiots like are like they're like thinking Aang knows what he's doing still. Like Haybye is going around destroying shit. Aang's trying to talk to him. And they're like, Aang's techniques are really unusual.
Yeah, I wouldn't call these techniques. These are like Aang like trying to figure it out as he's going on.
Like Aang is getting fucking eaten alive, and they're like, I haven't seen this negotiation tactic in a long time.
And then they're like, and then one of the other guys like, he just died. Like they just
well, time to go look around the water tribe for the next avatar.
That'd be funny if that's what all they don't really care about Aang himself like dying. They're just like, well, time on to the next avatar. Like that's how they go.
It's like, well, you guys were already heading to the North Pole. I guess that's a good start.
Or like it's kind of like that casting things. Like anytime the typical thing they do like in a sitcom or like in a funny cartoon where people like will go to cast their roles, and if they do badly, the casting coach will be like, "Next." That's kind of what the avatar is. The one of them dies.
Whenever an avatar dies, it's like, "Next." Yeah. I do love that Sokka wants to back up Aang in the fight, especially because he's got no powers. He's not a waterbender, not a firebender or airbender. Yeah. He's a guy with a boomerang, and he sees this fucking massive spirit, and he's like, "Nah, I can take him."
Sokka's got heart. I mean, this is why he becomes a war criminal later on. So
I know, right? Fucking mass murderer.
He hasn't even started his crimes yet, by the way. We haven't even seen him.
Oh, yeah, no. We're just sitting here waiting for the fucking war criminal he becomes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like fucking Oppenheimer. Who?
But yeah, I like this though a lot. I like that Sokka wants to back up like Aang, and I like too like Sokka mentions like he tells Aang we'll fight him together, but Aang's even like I don't want to fight him type of thing. Like it's kind of like because I think that I like to the point where Sokka finally steps in is when Aang gets slammed, because Aang gets slammed into a building. That's what makes Sokka like finally step in.
Yeah, because like Heibai was kind of just like ignoring Aang and like smashing the buildings, and Sokka wants to go help, but as soon as Heibai kind of just like smacks Aang away, Sokka's like, all right, that's it. No, we're helping him.
Yeah.
Or like I'm helping. And then
like how,
Sokka I like he tries to like distract Heibai. He throws the boomerang. Boomerang just bounces off.
yeah.
And like you said, Aang is like, Sokka, what are you doing? And Sokka runs up to Aang. He's like, don't worry, Aang. Like, you're not in this alone. We'll fight him together.
I do like, by the way, like, when the Katara went to go out there, though, like, one of the old guys was like, no, it's not safe. You can't be, like...
Katara was about to go out there, and this old guy fucking grabbed her and stopped her. And I'm like, boy, if you don't get your fucking hands off of me.
Yeah. Like, her brother and, like, one of her best friends is, like, out there type of thing. And she's like, nope, you get it. You get it. Like, what the hell is going to happen?
Yeah, I know, right? He's like, no, Katara. Please, no.
But Sokka, he didn't
Yeah, it was like, fuck that guy. You know, I never liked him anyway. I've only known him for 10 minutes, but I never liked him.
Yeah.
But, you know, I legitimately love that Sokka went out there, like, literally fucking a giant monster destroying the town, and Sokka's still going out there completely fearless, like, yeah, I'll fight him.
And Sokka's the only one, like, talking these people, like, down, too. Like, being like, no, he needs our help. Like, even Katara at one point was just like, hey, we'll figure out what to do, Sokka. Don't worry. Like, Sokka's like, no, like, he did it. We gotta help this
guy. Like,
kid.
no, fuck that. Aang's gonna die. Like, fuck that shit.
Again, like... again, like you said, like, Aang could have been eaten alive by this spirit, and Katara was just like, don't worry, Sokka. Aang will figure out how to not be eaten right now.
Aang is, like, crying, screaming like his guts are spilling out. And Katara's like, don't worry, Sokka. Aang will figure out what to do any moment now.
And they're just waiting. Just like, any moment now.
But it is kind of funny how, like, as soon as Sokka comes out of the building, Heibai, like, grabs him and runs away. Like, he didn't do that for Aang. So I think Heibai, like, realized Aang was the Avatar.
Yeah.
So, because, like, you know, he just kind of, like, ignored Aang, but, like, as soon as Sokka came out, he grabbed Sokka and ran for it.
Right. I did like that, yeah.
Yeah. And poor Sokka, again, like, dude, legitimately such a good friend. He immediately gets fucking shit on for trying to help Aang.
I know, we talk about, like, how... I guess that's why, like, I like too how the old guy didn't even warn Sokka that this could have happened, that he was gonna get, like, taken. Like, Katara, he's like, yeah, no, you're not getting taken, type of thing.
Yeah, I know, right? He's like, listen, we can't have him take both of you. We need you as a sacrifice if he comes back tomorrow.
Yeah. I do like that they didn't do a thing later where we find out they were, like, villains. And, you know, because I think I've seen a show, sometimes you've seen, like, in a show or movie before, where they'll just they'll grab outsiders to be taken so they don't get taken. I like they didn't do that. We
do find out, though, they're little snitch bitches, though.
That's true.
So, not evil, but worse, some might say. They're like, next episode, they're like, oh, thank you, Avatar, for helping us. Zuko shows up. It's like, the Avatar? You know, I never fucking liked that guy. Such a dick. Anyway, yeah, he's going in that direction. You want me to help you find him? Like, I'll lead you to him.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't even say goodbye to Aang before he left. It was just, get that.
Yeah, they're like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So, like, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, Sokka gets yoinked. And then Aang flies after him on his glider through the forest. And I noticed that, like, during the forest chase, Aang was a really bad, like, 3D CGI model.
Yeah.
So that one didn't really hold up that well. Definitely 2005.
Definitely.
But Sokka's, like, screaming, like, Aang, help me. And they get to, like, the burn part of the woods. And I was always confused on how this happens because Aang ends up in the spirit world. He ends up, like, out of his body. I was always wondering if it was because Aang ends up, like, running into, like, the Heibai, like, statue, or because Aang grabs Sokka's hand, like, as Heibai was, like, going into the spirit world. So I wonder if because Aang was, like, touching Sokka, that caused his body to, like, leave.
That's what I was thinking. Then how come we didn't see Sokka, like, in the spirit world, like, also? Like, was Sokka trapped, like... Because they mentioned that Sokka's...
Well, Aang, as we find out, this isn't actually, like, the spirit world.
Right.
Remember, like, Aang actually goes to the spirit world at the end of book 1. Like, he's kind of just, like... He's a spirit in the physical world.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure, like, Sokka was in, like, the actual... Like, the spirit world we see in Siege of the North.
Can you imagine Sokka ran into that guy that like steals your face and he didn't know about it later on?
Yeah, I know, right? He meets Ko. He's like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" He's like, "Okay."
Yeah. By the way, I do have a question. By the way, I know this is gonna be a different episode. So what if Aang lost his face in the spirit world? Would he lose it in the physical world also type of thing?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Like when he come back with
Yeah, he's hanging out with Zuko in that fucking cave. Zuko's like, "Hello, oh my god, what happened to your face?"
or when he just not have his face in the spirit world but have it in the physical world type of thing.
Honestly, that doesn't sound too bad. It's like, oh no, I only lose my face when I'm in the spirit world. Okay, I mean, I'm not in the spirit world very often.
Yeah, so I don't know what happens there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna guess that's what caused Aang to go into the spirit world though, was he was touching Heibai, and but he didn't.
Well, he was touching Sokka, who was touching Heibai, but yeah.
Yes, yeah. So I guess that's why he didn't go into the spirit world, because he was touching Sokka, who wasn't in the spirit world yet, type of thing.
Yeah. So because it was in the middle of going to the spirit world, that's what happened. Yeah. Well, it is kind of funny. We end up finding out. So Aang smacks into Heibai's the panda statue. He gets knocked out, and when he wakes up, it's still nighttime. But when we come back to this spot later, Aang's body is on top of the panda statue.
Yeah.
But Aang wakes up and he's on the ground. So it'd be really fucking creepy. Because Aang walks back to the village as a spirit. So did Aang's fucking lifeless body get up and climb to the top of the panda statue?
Yeah. Imagine too if they did the thing in season 6 with Novi Beach wwith Church, where Aang's body just fell off the statue too, a big gust of wind came up and Aang's
Yeah. Caboose is hey, listen, don't leave me alone with your lifeless body. It's really creepy.
Yeah.
And it zooms in on the body, and Caboose is stop that.
Yeah. That'd be funny.
Yeah. But I do like how because remember I pointed out I complained that we didn't actually see Katara's necklace fall off last episode.
Yeah.
I like how we actually see when Aang wakes up, he's blue.
Mm-hmm.
But it's at the time you think, oh, it's dark out. They're just it's a filter. But no, when he goes back and the sun comes up, he's still blue. So I'm saying that's cool that they actually still drew him blue here.
So we knew, yeah, I like so it wasn't just so when it got revealed, he still looked like that, even though we didn't know about it type of thing.
Yeah, so you think oh, he's just blue because it's dark out, and then it's no, he's actually fucking blue.
And I should mention too, by the way, I know you said he hit the statue. We didn't even know what he even hit. I think it just showed
yeah, well, it pans up, he's on the ground, knocked out, and then we see the panda statue, but we don't know what that is really yet.
Yes.
But yeah, Aang kind of does the walk of shame back to It'd be kind of funny, because if we find out Aang can't use bending in the spirit world, it's kind of funny that Aang just decided to walk back.
I know.
Because imagine he's okay, I guess I'll fly back, and he's oh, that's weird, I can't fly.
I know, yeah. I wonder what. And I just kept trying to do it again and again. Type of with
right. So it is kind of fun. Aang, the only reason Aang walked back was so it could be a dramatic reveal in a couple minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Aang walks back, and Katara's sitting at the village entrance, sad, because she doesn't know what happened to Aang and Sokka. But the old guy's comforting her, "Hey, girl, I know I kind of stopped you from helping your friends. Sorry about that. But anyway, I'm sure they'll be fine. I'm sure they haven't been eaten alive by a fucking spirit. It's all good."
I like how this old guy's just hopeful, even though he saw these two people that taken into the spirit world, and he doesn't know what happened to them, type of thing.
Yeah, I like to think he's just comforting her, and he's well, they're fucking dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aang is while this old guy's talking to her, Aang shows up and he's Katara, I'm sorry I lost him. But then he's talking to them in the middle of the conversation,
mm-hmm.
and they don't react to Aang. They're oh, don't worry, I'm sure Aang will be back. And he's what are you talking about? I'm right here. And the sun is coming out as Aang's talking to them, and I said, he's still blue. And when Aang's trying to get their attention, we see he's see-through. Mm-hmm. So Aang is he went ghost. He's going ghost.
Oh, Danny!
Kind of funny, we've got Ghost Freak, we've got Danny, and we've got Aang. All three of them are ghost boys.
Yeah, and they can't do. And apparently, if you're a ghost in the Avatar universe, you suck because you can't do any of your.
Yeah, I know, right? So Aang and Danny, by going ghost, they both get superpowers. Aang, by going ghost, fucking loses his superpowers.
So I just like to see Aang, Danny, and Ghost Freak just all have like a round table of like a nice conversation of like the struggles of being ghosts type of thing.
Yeah. Danny's like, oh man, I'm always fighting these ghosts, like these lunch ladies, these box ghosts. And Ben is like, that's cool. I murdered a clown.
What did
yeah, I made a clown kill himself. Well, not actually, but like it was implied that's what happened.
And then Aang's just like, I can't do shit.
And Aang's like, yeah, I just, I kind of just can't do anything.
I just chill. I have a cool filter. Yeah, I got a cool booth.
Yeah. I'm see-through. That's cool.
Yeah.
And Ben again is like, yeah, that's cool. I have like fucking tentacles under my skin. It's pretty weird.
Yeah. Would it be Ben or Ghost Freak? Because the Ghost Freak is like a different.
Oh, true. Mid conversation, Ben is just like, I'm gonna fucking kill you all. Oh, sorry about that. That was a little weird.
That freaked me out. I don't know what I was doing there.
Yeah. That really freaked me out. If you know what I mean. Ghost freaked.
I just like to think too. He's like, just like, yeah, I can't do shit, and then Danny's like saying like, yeah, but I could do all this type of stuff, and Ghost Freak just says to Danny, you want to see something? You want to see what I can do? And he just does that.
You want to see something really scary? Fucking rips himself open again.
And it makes Danny like lose his ghost powers, and Aang like go back, get cut out of knocks Danny out of the spirit world or whatever.
And instead of like scare the spirit out of him, scare the spirit back into him. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
But yeah, Aang realizes he's in the spirit world. Well, not really. He's just a spirit in the physical world. But yeah, and Aang is kind of just sitting there, like Katara can't like see or hear him, but he's just kind of talking to Katara, like, "Don't worry, Katara, I'll figure it out. I always do. I just got to figure out what I have to do, but once I figure it out, it'll be easy."
So what the hell was Aang?
So I like he's kind of talking to her, even though she can't hear him. I think he's more doing it for himself.
Yeah. So I wonder what I wonder what Aang's plan was, by the way, because he was just gonna chill there in the spirit world, like.
Yeah, well, yeah, he didn't have a plan. I think that's why he was talking to Katara. He was kind of like, talking to her for himself to like calm himself down, like kind of convince himself, like, don't worry, it's cool. Once I figure out what I have to do, I'll just do it. Like it's all good. It'll work out.
I like that.
Yeah. Like he's like obviously he's like really confused on what to do, but he's trying to be hopeful as he can.
And at least Aang comes off like humble about it, not like some people in like Shauna, when she was going to give herself like an abortion, didn't really have a plan of what was going to happen like after that type of thing. So
yeah. Well, to be fair, Aang is kind of just like sitting around. He hasn't done anything stupid yet. He's just like, okay, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to try to think about this. But yeah, Appa shows up to kind of come for Katara, and Aang is like, he's like happy to see Appa, but he gets sad when he realizes Appa can't see him either. Because and like a minute, Aang says Appa's his spirit guide.
Yeah.
Like his animal guide. And like the Guru in Appa's Lost Days, we found out like Aang and Appa are like spiritually connected.
Right.
So I think Aang was kind of hoping that like maybe Appa would be able to see him, but no.
Is that
so Aang gets pretty first.
So is that continuity error then? Because if they're spiritually connected, should Appa have seen him? Or do you think that's something they wrote in later, or do you think? Well,
Aang says in a minute that like Appa's his animal guide.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think it's like a continuity error that Appa can't see him.
Okay.
I think they're still connected. It just Appa can't see him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aang is upset and he starts screaming like, "Avatar Roku, like how can I talk to you?" Because as they were saying earlier, like he was hoping that like Roku could somehow communicate with him, like his spirit somehow. Because Aang is frustrated. He has no fucking clue what he's doing.
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden, a fucking dragon shows up, and Aang is like, "Holy shit, that is not right." Because he saw it as a light in the woods. He was like, "Oh my god, is that Sokka?" And then he's like, "Nope, that is not Sokka."
Yep.
And then Aang pulls out his glider and tries to fly away, but as we said, he just kind of like falls to the ground, and he's like, "What? I can't airbend. I can't airbend in the spirit world." Which I think that makes sense because remember, bending is like physical.
Yeah.
So like because he doesn't have a physical body, it makes sense he can't bend like the physical elements.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that.
Yeah. Only one I feel like is kind of weird is fire, because remember they don't like need fire to like they make their own fire out of like their own like energy.
Yeah.
So I think that one's a little weird. That they can't bend fire when they're spirits. Well, I don't know. I guess remember with the guru, he's like talking about how like the chakras are like physically in their bodies.
Yeah.
So I guess even then, like the fire, even though like it's within them, it's still connected to their body, not their spirit.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. The movie did it. Don't forget, the movie did it bad.
Oh, yeah. Well, the movie sucks because they actually need fire around them.
Yeah.
Which is dumb. Because, by the way, sorry, little rant. They would have been fucked if they tried to fight the other nations. Because you always need a little pot of fire around you to like fight anyone. Like, no, you're fucked.
How did they take over the world of the movie if they don't have?
That's what I'm saying. Like, Earth is everywhere, water is everywhere, air is everywhere. Everyone has to keep a little fucking pot of fire on them in order to fucking fight anybody. Like, these guys would have been fucking instantly. It wouldn't have been a 100-year war. It would have been like a 2-week war.
Not the Avatar.
It would have been like a 2-hour war. The Fire Nation would have invaded and would have gotten their ass kicked immediately.
Just imagine too, like, you have like a pot of fire on you, it just goes out while you're invaded.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, everyone's like, okay, guys, just take out their little fire pots, and they can't really do shit, and then we win.
Yeah, so it's like...
Again, they wouldn't have lasted 100 minutes, let alone 100 years.
But the last Airbender's in a whole different universe I don't even want to talk about.
Fuck that movie. Anyway, continuing on to the good Avatar. The dragon shows up, Aang's scared, but the dragon's being pretty calm, and its little, like, face tentacle thing touches Aang's forehead and shows him a vision of a comet and a picture of like the dragon. The dragon is like blue and like see-through as well, so clearly like it's a spirit. And it shows him a picture of like back when it was alive. It was a red dragon, and Roku was riding it. So Aang realizes what the dragon, like what this dragon is. It was Roku's animal guide. So basically, like this dragon was to Roku what Appa is to Aang.
Yeah, I like that. So every Avatar then gets like an animal guide, pretty much. So
yeah. Every animal has an animal guide. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Is it always too like what the specific like, nation's animal guide? Like obviously because the dragon's supposed to be the Firebender's one type of thing. So
no.
Okay.
I think it's pretty common, but like because like every Airbender gets a sky bison.
Yeah.
So, like, chances are this animal guide for an Airbender is going to be the bison.
Right.
But not necessarily.
So, you could get fucked royally on the animal guide. Imagine the animal guide was
it could be like a fucking bug. It's like, oh, great.
Well, that mouse that, like, Ivo, like, came into contact with.
Right, like, that's fucking the Firebender's, like, spirit guide is the fucking mouse. It's like, oh, great, thanks. Yeah, Korra gets a polar bear dog.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and the first Avatar has like a little deer thing.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm not gonna lie, that one was probably the lamest.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet, so I have to like.
Yeah, I mean, like it was decent. It's just like a fucking dragon, a bison that can fly around the world, a polar bear dog, which like it's not as cool, but like it can like fuck some shit up. And the first Avatar, it's like, oh cool, I wonder what he has. It's like a little deer. It's like, oh okay. I mean, like you can ride it, I guess.
Can you imagine it's that cat from Omashu that like Momo's that?
That Momo was fighting. Yeah, like oh cool. I don't get a dragon or like a bison or like a cool ass serpent. It's like it's a cat. It's like a normal cat, huh? All right. Well, that's what we're going with, huh?
So you could get you could get.
I feel like I'd be like, all right, I'm killing myself. Better luck in the next life. It's like in a video game where something bad happens, you're like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to kill myself, go back to the last checkpoint.
And then, the next Avatar, like, talks to you and is like, yeah, how did you die? It's like,
He's like, listen, my animal guy was kind of lame. I was like, I'm just going to kill myself and better luck on the next run.
Right.
And then in the next Avatar also gets like a shitty one. And he's like, oh, god damn it, 2 in a row. Fine. Fucking better luck the third time.
And that one ended up being like the serpent or whatever like that. Like yeah.
Yeah, finally, only took 3 tries.
Yeah.
I love that we treat the Avatar like it's a fucking video game. Like again, it's like, oh, something bad happens. It's like, all right, fine, kill myself. Try again on the next checkpoint.
Oh yeah, like it's like someone trying to like a casting duty, like trying to cast for like a role or whatever like that. Like
Yeah, it's like an acting role. It's like, God damn, I didn't get this one. All right, better luck on the next try.
it's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying, the comet also shows Aang a vision of like a comet, and Aang's confused. But the dragon's like, hey, hop on my back. Well, it doesn't actually say that, but like in motions, like, hop on me.
Mm-hmm.
And Aang is like, okay, are you gonna like take me to Roku? And so Aang hops on its back, and he's like, hey, don't worry, Katara and Appa, I'll be back. And he flies off. And Aang's confused of like, hey, why are you like taking me to like the Fire Nation? Like, I thought you were gonna like take me to Roku.
You missed a big thing.
Huh?
Before Aang even goes to the Fire Nation.
Oh yeah, sorry. So
I will say this before I did like that they still had like Katara and like Appa like out there while Aang was having the conversation with like the dragon. Like they wouldn't go inside or anything like that. Like they were still there. Like you didn't even realize that they were still there until like Aang like said something to her. I like that.
Yeah, because remember, like Katara and Appa have no fucking clue this is happening.
Yeah.
I wonder if Aang told them that. Like, hey, by the way, I was there and I was with a fucking dragon. I was like right next to you. You just like couldn't see me.
I know, yeah. This would be a cool comedy bit type of thing. Like Katara could have been doing something like really embarrassing or something, and Aang would have like Aang would have seen it type of thing.
Look, I like what they did in Danny Phantom, where they were time traveling, and like Danny like posed like during like a historical picture, but like because he was invisible, no one could see him.
Yeah, so Aang could like so Danny
could be like, hey, I was in that picture. You just can't see me.
Right. Well, it's like I know it's off topic, but like in an episode of Johnny Tests, I think Johnny like studied for the test and like did really well on it, but like he went back in time like that episode and everything he did like changed the history.
Yeah, so like everything on the history test was wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was funny because Liam was just watching that a couple days ago.
That episode or like
yeah, that episode. That's funny. But yeah, Aang is riding on this dragon, and Iroh, back when Iroh was like was still captured by the Earth Kingdom soldiers. He saw Aang riding on the dragon flying by, and he was like, "Oh my god!" And the Earthbender was like, "What?" He was like, "Oh, I have nothing."
And we find out more about this like later on.
Yeah, but this is our first hint that because Iroh was the only person who's able to like see spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out later that like Zhao mentions like Iroh like had a legendary journey to like the spirit world.
Yeah, I remember.
And like
that.
we end up finding out Iroh is just like a very like spiritual person.
Mm-hmm.
So he can like see spirits, which ends up being a big deal because if you remember in the end of book 2, he notices that Yue is like connected to the moon spirit.
Yeah, the book 1, you mean? Yeah, I remember that.
That's why. Oh, sorry. At the end of book 1, yeah, Iroh realizes Yue is like shares a life with the moon spirit.
And I do kind of like this too, because like right before like, because Aang and Iroh had like a scene together like in Crossroads of Destiny, and Aang was kind of asking Iroh for advice about going into the Avatar state, so it's kind of cool because that's kind of linked to the spirit world in a way.
Yeah,
like that. So
I feel like his advice though was more like general. Like I don't think that was really specifically to the Avatar state, but you're right. It is kind of nice because it is, like you said, spiritual.
Yeah, it's kind of cool too. Like Iroh like sees it because he sees like Aang in the spirit world and everything like that too, type of thing. So
yeah. So that was really cool. So because I like they established that like no one can like see spirits, but then Iroh was able to. Because he's just built different. And I like to think like he didn't actually go on this like cool journey through the spirit world. He's just naturally a fucking badass. And God was like, okay, no one can see spirits except Iroh, and everyone's like, why? He's like, because he's that fucking cool.
That'd be awesome. I do like too, like you said though, that like with Rick and Morty, we talked about the last time where they did stuff at the Citadel, but we didn't get anything from that for like a while. They didn't like wait a long time to like pay this off or anything like that either. They just like they kept it in this season where like Iroh mentions it and everything like that. So this isn't just like a one-off for this specific scene.
But it's just cool learning more about Iroh. If because they're planning on making more like Avatar stuff. Like Zuko's gonna get his own movie. And we're gonna get like a adult team Avatar. We're gonna get like the Earthbender Avatar. I know Iroh's original voice actor unfortunately passed away.
Oh,
But
that
I would
sucks.
fucking love. Yeah, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that. No.
Oh, well, in Tales of Bossing Say, they have Iroh's story ends with like in memory of Mako.
Oh, I didn't know that's who that was. So.
Oh yeah, his voice actor. Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. You learn something new every video apparently.
Well, not every video. Just Kiss This and apparently this video.
Apparently in this one. It's like the Kiss This residue because we did Kiss This yesterday. It's like that's leaking into this. Yeah, but I would have loved if we got like I would love like a prequel about Iroh.
Yeah, me too.
Because I've told Owen like I'm a big fan of like face turns and heel turns. I would love seeing Iroh turn from like the vicious general and then like becoming this like fucking cool dude.
And it's the reverse like Star Wars thing where like you're gonna see Iroh become like good. No one else.
Yeah, it's kind of like the reverse situation. Yeah, instead of becoming Darth Vader, he becomes a cool dude. Well, it's funny because I think Zuko even mentions that similar thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or like when Aang is like confused, he's like, "What? I thought your uncle was like a good guy." And Zuko's like, he had a complicated past that like runs in the family apparently.
I do have to say, by the way, too. What was I gonna say? Have they done something in it like a storyline where we saw someone like good, like first, but then we found out they had a shitty past and they like talked about their backstory like in film in anime. I assume they have.
What do you mean? Like so like they started off good and then became bad?
No, like we saw them in the present like bad, but then we got the backstory of how they became like good type of thing, and they were bad at one point. Like the reverse Darth Vader effect, pretty much type of thing.
Okay, yeah, because that was like he's bad, and then we find out he used to be good. Someone who was good and then they were bad in the past.
And we saw them.
Yeah,
good,
I'm pretty sure.
And we saw them good first type of thing. So.
Yeah. It's definitely happened. I'm just blanking on it.
Yeah, I can't think of it either. So.
It's definitely more rare than because obviously like a big part of like you want to see the redemption.
Yeah.
Or seeing them get worse, like with Walter White in Breaking Bad. So it is more rare, but I'm sure it's happened.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, it was really cool seeing that. And it was such a little thing, like a 2-second thing.
Yeah.
But I loved it. Adds more to Iroh and like his mystery. And like I said, if like I had a choice of like, okay, you get to like pick your own Avatar series, what would you do? I don't know if it'd be my first pick, but it would definitely be like my top 5. Like I want a prequel about Iroh.
Yeah,
like,
that
his
would
whole life.
That'd be awesome.
Like his childhood, how he became a general, how he met the White Lotus, his son when Zuko was a little kid, sieging Bossing Say, like when his son died, his journey through the spirit world, like all that shit.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, the dragon ends up taking Aang to this like temple in the Fire Nation. And I like how Aang is like, "What are you doing?" Like, because it's like going right through the floors. But I guess Aang forgot that they can like phase through shit.
Yeah, he didn't learn that yet. So
yeah. But the dragon takes Aang to this room like at the top of the temple, and Aang's confused because it's like a statue, and Aang is like, because remember it's a dragon, it's an animal. So Aang thinks like the animal is like, because Aang is like, "Hey, take me to Roku." So he thinks the dragon like misunderstood him. Because he's like, this is a statue. Like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
But the dragon, like, points it to like a gem behind him. Well, he also like shows Aang the comet again, like a picture of it.
Yeah.
And Aang is like confused. He's like, "What? It's like a comet? Like, why does Roku want to speak to me about this?" And like he sees like a gem, on the like in the room, like the gem is like creating a light. And the dragon shows Aang like a montage of like the days passing and how like as the days go on throughout the year, the like light position changes. So like the sunlight is like what's causing the gem light to happen.
Yeah, this was animated really well too. I liked how they
like seeing it like change over time over the year.
Yeah.
So basically, like the position of the light will change throughout the year, and then on the winter solstice, the light will hit the statue. And Aang realizes, like, okay, so on the, because the guy pointed out the spirit world is closer to the physical world on the winter solstice.
Yeah.
So Aang figures, like, okay, so when the light happens on the winter solstice, then I'll be able to speak to Roku.
I liked this, yeah. So it was set, you know, because Aang went to the spirit world. Well, not into the spirit world, but like because Aang was in between the spirit world and the physical world here. It, you know, this plot caused basically the next plot to happen, and
right. Well, I also like it because, like, you know, the winter solstice was like set up in relation to Heibai.
yeah,
But now we're establishing, like, okay, it's not just Heibai, like, it's Roku too. You'll be able to speak to Roku on the winter solstice.
yeah, I like that.
Well, it's cool because, remember, it was set up as a bad thing. Like, oh, you got to stop Heibai before the solstice because he'll be, like, super powerful. And now it's set up as, like, a good thing. Okay, well, but you'll be able to talk to Roku.
Yeah,
So
I like
cool.
that. Typically,
That's a good thing.
you know, when they establish something as one way as either a good thing or a bad thing, it's usually just that
Yeah.
one thing. I like it. It's kind of like both.
And it's like Sozin's comment. It's like all the firebenders will be super powerful and they'll destroy everything, but everyone gets free ice cream. So, you know,
There you go.
I think that evens out. I think that evens out.
If you want to believe that, you can. So
Sure, why not? But, you know, another downside is all the ice cream will be melted because it's, you know, of all the fire.
I know. By the way, this is off topic. By the way, and I know we're going back to that terrible movie, but Sultan's comment. By the way, then that wouldn't mean shit in the Avatar movie. Then if you don't have fire around you, you can't really.
I know, right? Everyone's like, the Fire Nation's getting ready. Like, all right, Sozin's comet, guys. We're gonna destroy everything. And then one waterbender just like puts out the fire. And they're like, "Fuck, we're defenseless."
So like really.
For this.
Wow, the last Airbender sucks, and I haven't even watched the whole
That's
thing.
pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Looking forward to that when we get the end of book 1.
We might never
But
get
yeah,
to it.
Aang
because
is
of
like, hey, Dragon, like, that's cool and all. I can talk to Roku in the winter solstice, but like, I still need help. You know, with Sokka.
this. Yeah, I like,
Like,
that.
you know, can you like?
I like that wasn't like forgotten about type of thing. Like it's like okay, we need to deal with Sokka like now type of thing.
Right, like I can't wait that long. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the dragon takes Aang back to that statue where Aang left his body. And again, Aang's body's like now sitting on top of the panda statue.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be really fucking creepy that Aang's like lifeless body just like somehow puppeted itself like to the top of the statue, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Fuck it. But it was a really cool effect where the dragon like was like barreling like full speed and like, you know, like lined Aang up, like his spirit on his back, like into the body.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's kind of funny how Aang like went into the body like the wrong way. Like Aang's body was facing this way, and Aang's like spirit went in this way.
Yeah,
It'd be funny if like Aang like was backwards now.
I know that'd be awesome. It's like the reverse of it's like you know, anytime they do a cartoon thing, well, the head will be backwards type of thing. So that's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, thankfully that horrible abomination doesn't happen to Aang. He's perfectly fine. And then Aang hops down from the statue, and he's going to go back to Katara, but he looks at the statue, the panda statue, and he kind of looks at it for a moment. And like I don't know what happens. I think he feels like a connection to the statue,
Yeah,
or something. Like he stares at it like the way he stared at Roku's statue back in the Southern Air Temple.
right.
But then he goes back to Katara. Katara's like, "Oh, thank God, I haven't seen you in like a day." And Aang's thinking like, "Oh, actually, I saw you like 10 minutes ago, but whatever." And he's like, "Hey, sorry, I couldn't find Sokka." But sunset has approached, and they're like, "Oh fuck, Heibai's coming back."
I like too. This is like
does come back, huh?
I like too. This is the first thing Aang had to do when he got back too. He had to fight the Heibai like again type of thing.
I was like, "Come on, Heibai, I haven't had time to take a piss," because as we find out, there's no bathroom in the spirit world.
Yeah.
So Aang's like, "Oh my God, I gotta piss so bad." He's like, "Fuck, Heibai's back."
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Aang tries to reason with Heibai, and I do like this little moment where Aang like touches Heibai's forehead, and like it glows a little bit, and we see Aang gets like a little image of like Heibai being a panda.
Yeah.
So Aang makes the connection that like, you know, the statue in the forest was like the forest spirit, and that this is Heibai. Like Heibai is the forest spirit,
It's something I
and
noticed.
Heibai's upset that the firebenders destroyed its home.
Yeah, because that's something I noticed too. Like the statue of like the panda, you know, was like was in the same area. I don't think we noticed this until you saw it later. Like, until you come back and watch it a second time. It's like it's in the burnt forest. You don't really notice it when you watch it first go around.
And that's also why I think it makes sense. Like Heibai brought Sokka there. It's like Heibai was like going back to like it's the damaged forest, which like it's where it lives.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. So because remember, no one had any clue why Heibai was attacking. So Aang pieces together like, okay, it's a forest spirit, and it's upset the firebenders destroyed its home.
Yeah.
I also like Aang touched its forehead and got that like vision, because the dragon did the same thing to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That made a lot of sense, and I do like it makes sense because obviously things we learn in like horror movies when ghosts die, typically while they'll haunt a place is because they died in a tragic way. So to the hate.
Well, to be fair, I don't think Heibai was ever alive. I think it was always a spirit.
Right.
So like it's not that Heibai's haunting it. It's like Heibai is like it was like the will of the forest basically.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I guess I'll mention it now. In Legend of Korra, we find out more about the first Avatar, and it gets changed. Like on Nickelodeon.com or something, they said that like the Avatar, the reason it was the bridge between the spirit world and the physical world, is because it's like the Avatar. It's like the Avatar is like the will of the planet.
Okay.
Like the Avatar is like the spirit of Earth.
Yeah.
They end up changing that. But I think that was like the idea in The Last Airbender is that like Aang, that's why like Aang is like connected to nature.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And like when the moon spirit like dies, like Yue feels it because she's connected to the moon spirit, and Aang feels it because he's like the spirit of Earth.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying it's a cool connection that like the idea is that like Heibai is like the spirit of the forest, and Aang is like the spirit of the earth.
Yeah, I like that.
They're both hurt by the forest getting burned up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And again, they changed that, but unfortunately,
doesn't sound like it's a good change.
I don't hate what they changed it to. It's just like I think both are like cool ideas.
Yeah.
It's just like I think the spirit of the earth thing fits this better.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah. But yeah. Anyway. And kind of now that he realizes why Heibai is so upset, I like that he kind of takes a book out of Katara's page. Katara showing him the acorn is what calmed him down. So Aang, because Heibai is about to go to like the main building and like fucking murder everyone. So Aang gets in front of Heibai and shows him the acorn. And Heibai, I like how pissed Heibai looks. Like it is like panting. It is like clearly pissed off.
But I do like he's like listening to Aang this time. Like he's not ignoring.
Yeah, he's listening to Aang because Aang shows him the. And I also do like how Aang didn't want to fight Heibai in the first place either.
Yeah, I feel like too he doesn't ignore what the spirit stops ignoring him once he touches his forehead too, which I kind of liked type of thing too. Like the spirit kind of was listening to him afterwards, like kind of Because I think Aang learned his lesson from King of Omashu, where like Aang was trying to brute force things, and Gumi kind of taught him to like think outside the box. Yeah.
I like how earlier Aang was trying to like reason with Heibai, but like he couldn't because he didn't really understand Heibai. Mm-hmm. But now he understands Heibai, so now he can like talk to it better.
Yeah.
And yeah, he explains to him like, hey, listen, I was upset about the forest too, but my friend taught me about like, hey, the acorns are here, and like eventually your home will come back.
Yeah.
And Heibai like loses its like monster form and turns back into like a peaceful panda. And leaves, and a bunch of like little bamboo plants sprout up, and all the people who went missing, who were spirited away, one might say, aha, because that's the movie, Owen. You haven't seen it probably because you haven't seen any of the things I referenced.
Once you reference something I've like seen it, you're gonna be like, yes,
and I'll be like, oh my god, thank the Lord. But yeah, all the people come out. I really like Heibai being a panda because. The idea is that, like, remember, Avatar doesn't have, like, our real-world animals.
Yeah.
So, like, a normal panda in the Avatar world would be, like, unique and, again, like, kind of otherworldly.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of fucked that up because if you remember the previous episodes, they haven't really done that. Right. Because we've had, like, normal cats and, like, normal real-world animals.
Yeah.
So I mean, because I think that's a thing they added in a little bit later, that they have like hybrid animals.
Right. What I do like about the essentially the Fire Nation kind of fucked over this village too, because like they have to kind of deal with the consequences of the fire woods like themselves, because
yeah, because I think Heibai was like kidnapping people from this village because it was just pissed off. Like it didn't really understand that like these people weren't the ones who burned it down.
Yeah, so I do like that.
Or maybe they were again, because we never see the Fire Nation. Just so one dickhead from this building fucking was playing with fireworks and lit the whole building on everything on fire.
I like it was the old guy. It was the old guy who Aang meets like the very first time.
Everyone's like, those damn firebenders. I can't believe they've done this. And the Earthbender's just like whistling.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I also like that Aang and Heibai become like buddies here, because that ends up being a big thing. Because Heibai ends up helping out Aang at the end of book 1, and the Painted Lady in book 3, when Aang's trying to like talk to the Painted Lady, he says like, "Hey, listen, I'm buddies with Heibai."
Yeah, so I like that.
And you haven't seen it, but in between book 2 and 3 on Nickelodeon.com, there was like a little Lost episode, and Heibai helped out Aang in that too.
Oh, so we'll have to watch that. We'll have to find that.
Yeah, because it was like what Aang was doing when he was in like when Aang went to the spirit world when he was like in that coma in between book 2 and 3.
So we'll have to watch that then.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
But yeah, all the people come out, and Katara's like, "Oh my God, Sokka, you were in the spirit world. That's insane. You know, like what was it like?" And Sokka, being Sokka, he's not like, "Oh my God, I saw the face of God, or I saw all these otherworldly creatures. I saw a guy who stole faces." He's like, "No, I gotta take a shit."
Yeah, that was funny.
Yep. And then everyone's like, "Cool, we're all set." And the guy's like, "Hey, do you guys need anything before you go?" And Sokka's like, "Yeah, food and money." And the guy's like, "All right, cool. I definitely won't betray you guys in like an hour."
What I do think is funny about this, by the way, I guess they didn't give him a lot of money, because the next episode's the waterbending scroll, and they only had like 2 copper pieces, so like they didn't get a lot.
Owen, do you remember when they were waterbending, Aang waterbended all their supplies away?
Oh, so yeah, that was
So they even reference that. It's like all the supplies we got from that village are gone.
Yeah.
So they actually reference it, but yeah, they lose it fucking immediately.
Yeah.
These guys really do suck. They fucking snitched on Aang, and all the supplies they got from these guys, like, they lose immediately.
I know, yeah.
These guys suck ass. After Aang won the war, I wanted him to come back, and they're like, "Oh, Avatar, you're back. What's up?"
Right. That would have been awesome. He's just like, "Yeah, you kind of fucked me over." By the way, Sokka should have kicked these guys' ass, by the way, for letting him go out there like with the Heibai spirit type of thing. Like,
yeah, I know, right? It's like, "Oh, you'll stop Katara, but not stop me. Thanks, asshole."
I would have loved it, by the way, if Katara just like, Katara was so depressed though. If Katara like beat the shit out of these guys for not letting them go out and like help his brother, like Aang saw all of that like in his spirit form. He didn't even know, and he just kept that to himself.
Katara's like, "Hey, so you couldn't have helped my brother and Aang, huh? You just had to stop me."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Yeah, well, we kind of need you if we need another sacrifice for tonight." But anyway,
that'd just be awesome if they're just trying to find sacrifices type of thing.
I know, right? Yeah. Like, yeah, again, they are the ones who burn the forest down, and they just like, "Oh, great, hey, by spirit, we offer you blood." Yeah, but kind of funny that we're watching 2 shows with like angry forest spirits.
Oh yeah, because Yellow Jackets. Yeah.
In Yellow Jackets, it's Heibai.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they'd be fucked.
Yeah, it'd be
maybe that's what Javi is. The Heibai spirit took him.
Fucking Heibai took Javi to the spirit world. I fucking love that.
And he has his face stolen by
Well, we kept joking Javi's going to like a nearby town. Fucking, this is the village he keeps going to.
Yeah, I like to think he went to this town the last episode of Yellow. Oh, not the last, but you know what I mean. Like, and the Heibai spirit just took him.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
I like to think one of those people that came out was Javi.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, true. We didn't really get a good look at the other people, so could have been Javi.
Yeah, so I like to think that.
Yeah, that's canon now. But anyway, because this episode review has gone on double what it was supposed to. But
we still have another episode to review.
I know, right? So Aang tells Sokka and Katara like, "Hey, cool. I'm glad that like we're all good now, but there's another issue. So I figured out how to talk to Roku, and I can talk to him on the winter solstice. And Katara's like, well, that's tomorrow, so we gotta like rush. And Aang is like, yeah, that's not the only issue. The temple where I can speak to him is in the Fire Nation.
And I'm like horrified. What's it,
Yeah. Well, it's also cool because like they didn't actually say that earlier. Like it was kind of implied because it was on a volcano and it was like a big red building, and Roku was from the Fire Nation, so it was kind of implied, but like it wasn't actually said. So Aang like saying it like, yeah, we gotta go to the Fire Nation. It's like, okay.
I do like this too, by the way. That like, what's relatable about this is like when you have to tell someone something like some bad news type of thing. You wait to kind of say the worst part of the bad news to like the end and ain't save the fight.
Yeah, it keeps getting worse. Aang's like, okay, so good news. I can talk to Roku. Everyone's like, that's great. And it's like, okay, but it's on the winter solstice tomorrow. And it's like, okay, we've got to rush a little bit. That's fine. Also, it's in the Fire Nation. They're like, okay. So, that's a thing. Cool.
If it was 8, I'd be like, yeah, good luck, buddy. See you later. Like,
yeah. All right, Aang, you know what you do? Kill yourself, become a waterbender, kill yourself again, become a earthbender, kill yourself again. Now you're already in the Fire Nation. Boom, problem solved.
That's that's the Avatar's true power, not mastering all 4 elements, so they can just kill himself and keep coming back.
I know, it's like, okay, there's a thing going on in the Fire Nation right now. Okay, cool. I just gotta kill myself 3 times, and then I'll be in the Fire Nation. I don't gotta go there.
But the funny thing is, they have to wait like a few years after each time because
I know, right? You're gonna have to wait a couple years. But listen, it'll be worth it. All right, listen, this is still easier.
Right. I like to think too, like you know, because like people around him, like you would essentially have to like murder like an infant like right away to like.
I know, it's like, okay, Sokka, listen, you're already going to the North Pole. I'm gonna kill myself. Go to the North Pole. Find me again. Murder me as a baby.
So and Sokka would have to go. Sokka would have to get his war crimes up, and he would have to go to mass murder.
And all right, he's like, all right, listen, I haven't done a war crime in a little bit. All right, I'm good with this. Murder children. I killed them all, not just the men, but the women and the children too. I keep referencing that. You have not fucking seen that movie.
Is that the next movie I'm gonna see or no? It's not even
Star Wars? No, it's a couple in.
Okay. But yeah, I guess we'll do. So, do you want to do a letter grade, by the way, for both parts, or just since it's both kind of?
Yeah, because they're different enough. Where I feel we'll do like one for each one, and then like a combined one. I give this one an A. It's really good.
Yeah, I agree.
It's kind of funny. I remember part 2 being my favorite, but I feel like this one might be. I prefer part 1 because we're learning about the spirit world.
Yeah.
And Heibai is like, super fucking cool. And, you know, like, it's just... And again, I like Sokka. Sokka's only in this for 1 minute, but I love that he's such a bro. He's like, Aang, I will literally fight a god to help you out.
I do like, too, that Katara kind of took a back seat since she was heavily focused the last episode, so I thought that was a good...
She's also going to be a big focus for the waterbending scroll and Jet.
Yeah, so I kind of like that, you know, it kind of made sense for her to take a back seat. I mean, Sokka, I was going to say Sokka took a back seat, too, but he really...
Well, Sokka took an even bigger back seat.
He didn't have a choice, though. He got taken by the Heibai spirit, so... But yeah, let's get to the next episode. So
sorry, I don't know if I referenced it, but when Sokka said I really got to use the bathroom, I like they bring that joke back because when Aang is talking to Roku in book 3, but like Katara asks him like, "Hey, are there bathrooms in the spirit world?" And Sokka's like, "No, there actually aren't."
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I do like they kind of bring that joke back.
But yeah,
So I gave it an A. What did you give it?
I gave it an A also. I think it's really good. Okay, I like this one a lot.
Okay, I'm gonna fill up my water. You wanna talk?
Should I do the wiki then?
I'll do it. Sorry. Yeah, I'll do that real quick. So, the Winter Solstice Part 2, Avatar Roku. Again, this is a big one because it's our first time going to the Fire Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's obviously meeting Roku, who it's cool when we see his voice, we realize this is the guy who does the previously on Avatar. Yeah, this is episode 8 of book 1, Water. It was written by Michael Dante DiMartino. It's cool because the last episode was written by the head writer, and this episode is written by one of the co-creators.
That makes sense. I like that.
Yeah, so I think it makes sense for like big episodes like these to be done by like the main people.
Yeah.
And it was directed by Giancarlo Volpe. I feel like we've heard him a few times.
I remember in one of the Family Guy episodes, but it was like the most recent one we reviewed. We read on we read on like the wiki later. They wrote they would go on to write Avatar. I wonder if you've seen him show up yet.
Apparently, because I'm looking at where he is on Avatar, and never mind. He's a director for 19 episodes.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, he did Warriors of Kyoshi.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we have heard him before then.
Yeah. Yeah, he's done quite a few. Yeah. It seems to be mainly book 2, but he does a few in book 1. Yeah. Do you want to guess when this came out, Owen?
So the last one you said was in April something 2000. I almost said 2015, but it's 2005.
Yeah, they fucking aired every episode except this one. They waited 10 years to do that one.
I mean, it's a pretty big episode to miss too. So
I know, right? It's like weird. It's weird that they did part 2 Winter Solstice, but not part 1.
Well, when my sister watched Hannah Montana, there's an episode that's like unaired. They came out like later on, and they kind of referenced that later because like there's another episode where like her brother's dating somebody like in that episode, and like I think they kind of referenced it because the brother's like, hey, what made you give me another chance again? And she's like, oh, we went out before, so that was clearly a reference because the episode where they dated was like the deleted one or whatever. So
and you think that's bad? I think I told you in Pokemon, there was a banned episode where Ash caught like a Pokemon, but it got banned because like there was too many guns in that episode, so it like never made it to America.
Okay.
So when Ash just like showed up with like this Pokemon, it was like, what the fuck? When did Ash get that?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm gonna guess. Let's see. I'm gonna guess the last one. I know you just told me the last one, but I think it was April 25th, 2005. I'm gonna guess. Or was it April 18th, 2025? You know, I'm gonna guess here April 25th, 2005. Probably wrong.
You were close. It was April 15th, 2005.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's so
you're 10.
If we did this episode at like maybe 50 minutes ago, like actually started.
Oh. Check if the device is on your.
Okay. Oh, and you activated my Siri somehow.
I don't know how I did that, but okay.
I don't even know.
But yeah, I just start talking about the episode while you fill up your water and everything like that.
I shall.
So the episode.
It's funny because we're doing book 1 water. You got to fill up on your water.
Yeah, and I'm drinking water, so. So yeah, the episode starts off immediately right after the last one, which I think makes a lot of sense since I mean, it's not immediately after the last one. It seems like a few minutes, but like it's pretty immediate. And Ain's trying to get Appa to go with him to Roku's temple. And Appa obviously doesn't want to go because he doesn't want Ain to go by himself. And Katara and Sokka trying to convince Ain to not go by himself because Ain doesn't want them to go because he'll feel guilty if something happens to him. Like he'll try to feel like he's responsible for it. So he doesn't want them to basically risk their lives just to get him to the temple. And Katara and Ain.
Sorry, because you're talking about Appa real quick. Avatar, the official YouTube channel, did like a poll of like besides Aang, who was Appa's favorite, and most people are like, oh, Sokka was definitely Appa's favorite.
That's funny.
So you kind of see that here. Appa's like, no, I don't want to fucking leave Sokka. Screw that.
But yeah, Sokka and Sokka and Katara don't want Aang to go by himself because they don't want something bad to happen to him. So pretty much. Sokka and Katara being pretty stubborn here in a good way, and they're like, you're not going to the North Pole. They're not going to the Fire Nation. And listen, you're not going to the North Pole. That doesn't make sense.
All right, well, I guess the series is over.
Yeah. But he's like,
Fire Nation wins.
At least you're not without your friends. So this makes Aang go, or at least this convinces Aang to take them with him. And one of the persons at the town is just like, you're going to have to fly fast because sunset's heading pretty soon. And again, Aang was about to say goodbye to them and thank them for the hospitality, but the guy's just like, no, get the fuck out of here. Like, kind of rude here, I mean, he gets to come up for it later on, but whatever. I mean, this did make sense why, like, there wasn't a heartfelt goodbye, because obviously, like, the guy's just like, no, you gotta get out of here. Like, Aang spending this 5 seconds, he could have walked in. Roku would have been waiting for him, and Aang wouldn't have been there. So, But then a little bit later on, we see like the guy is leaving his house to go do something. I'm not really sure what he's going to do, but he's going to do something. And Zuko, ambushes him, and he asks like seeing the Avatar lately, and I didn't catch this until I watched it last week. I liked that it showed that this was going on at the same time because Zuko still had like his rhino with him, and Iroh still didn't have like his clothes on, so it showed this wasn't too much longer. I didn't really know it.
Okay, specify. Iroh had like a little loincloth. He wasn't just free balling it.
Yeah, but I do like that it's
fucking flopping his dick around.
But I do like it showed that like it wasn't too long afterwards, type of thing, because I didn't catch
this
it.
was like probably like immediately after, yeah.
And again, I do like that they showed the scene earlier where Zuko saw like the Appa flying over them, so it's not like it was a random coincidence that Zuko just happened to find them, type of thing. So
and keep in mind, guys. So I think he had a pretty good head start on Zuko, but next scene, Zuko was like right behind them. So these guys fucking snitched immediately.
Yep. So
like if I were this guy, I'd be like, okay, listen, I'm gonna try. Even if I have to tell him to keep everyone alive, I'll try to delay him as much as I can. But now this guy's like, oh, Egg, fucking, I never liked that guy. He's fucking over there right now. Like, here, I give you his exact map. I give you his fucking social security card.
Yeah,
I'll even help you kill him. You know what? I never fucking liked that guy.
So yeah, I like to think Aiden, when Aiden was putting peace between the worlds, when he came to this little village, he's just like, yeah, fuck this village. I ain't making peace with them. So, but yeah, so this is also risky though. I do like this. I was telling Zuko like that he's taking a big risk because obviously he's banished, so he can't really go into Fire Nation waters. And Zuko's just like, my father will understand why I'm doing this. And I even like Iroh, who's just like, you're giving my brother like a little bit too much credit. So that could be a conversation. Like, what if Zuko did catch Aang here? Like, would his father have like, Yeah,
because as we kind of find out, Ozai is just like has always kind of had it up for Zuko.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like even if Zuko did catch Aang, Ozai would be like, yeah, but you still broke your banishment, so get the fuck out.
Yeah. So I do like that. And yeah, so I actually kind of like this scene now seeing the Unaired Pilot. This seems like they kind of redid the Unaired Pilot here a little bit because Aang and Katara and Sokka are flying away on Appa, and they redo the scene where they shoot a fireball at him. So obviously they did it differently this time, where like they had to go light the fireball like themselves before they.
Oh yeah, that is cool that you noticed. I never noticed that. Yeah, it is pretty similar to the pilot.
Yeah, and they go to launch the fireball at them, and Aang's able to like dash away from it and everything like that. And I do like that this was like the only thing that really Zuko could do, because obviously he didn't really have like another fireball on him type of thing, because I think a ship only has like one each type of thing. And Katara and Sokka are just like worry, but they see the temple, and they just like, yeah, but we have bigger problems. And we see that there's like a blockade of Fire Nation ships just around going towards the temple type of thing.
I do like Iroh kind of has to like, he gets one little jab in at Zuko. He's like, well, technically you're still in Earth Kingdom waters, so they can't arrest you yet.
Yeah, so Aang has a way where they can just like go through the blockade and just pretty much do it very quickly. And obviously Katara and Sokka are like not sure if they want to do this. And I like that Aang kind of threw in a jab at them. They're like, see, this is why I didn't want you guys to come with me, showing that like this is how dangerous this could be.
Yeah.
And
but I like that they snap back though. Yeah, it's like, and that's exactly why we came.
Yeah. No, Van should have taken notes from this Avatar episode right here, because like obviously when Van's bad worded, is like why the whole reason she ends up going with Thaisa to and gets her like face eaten off and everything like that. It's like Van's gonna be taking notes from freaking Avatar. I know Avatar's not out yet, but Van should have taken notes.
And I love how, remember last night when we did Kiss This, I was bitching about how like these characters, we've known them for 7 episodes, and I don't know jack shit about any of them, or I don't get why any of you fuckers like each other. In the same amount of time, Ben, Danny, Yellow Jackets, Avatar, are red versus blue. I understand why all these people like hang around with each other,
Well, what do you mean by red versus blue though? Because what was episode 7 of Red versus Blue?
Okay, when we do season 8, Sarge's speech about how like they all could have left whenever they wanted, but they've all like stuck together, even though they all complain about each other.
Yeah.
They all like they gotta all leave whenever they want, but they don't.
Yeah.
So okay, that one I'm cheating a little bit with that one. That's 8 technically, but still.
Yeah. So then yeah. So yeah, Aang flies very quickly through the blockade. And, you know, at this point, Zuko could just, like, turn back. I was, like, pleading with Zuko to turn back, because Iroh even says, like, you know, if you get arrested and get captured, I can't do anything to help you, pretty much. And Zuko, you know, he still is persistent. He's just like, I'm sorry, Uncle, and just kind of continues to go forward.
I do that he seems, like, genuinely, like, regretful. He's like, I'm sorry, Uncle. Like, he looks like a pained expression.
Yeah, I liked that.
Like, he does legitimately feel kind of bad. He has to ignore his uncle.
But yeah.
Also, you kind of missed it when they were flying like high up. Like Sokka like fell off at one point.
Oh, that's after.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I thought you missed that.
So yeah, they fly through the blockade, and a bunch of ships are just launching fireballs at Appa. And I feel bad for Appa here because he has to like dodge and you know. At one point, like he gets a little bit of like backlash from it, like a little ash goes on him, and like Sokka, Momo, and Katara have to like pat it out type of thing. You know, at one point, Aang flies really high up into the air, and Sokka falls off, and Aang has to go back after him, and Sokka nearly like falls into the water, and you know, he ends up going on onto Appa, which that was a cool scene. I liked that.
Yeah.
There's a funny scene where like a fish comes up out of like nowhere, and like Momo catches the fish, which is pretty funny. I like that they got a comedy scene out of that. And then I think there's like one final fireball that they have to go after, and Aang quickly hops off Appa and like martial arts style kicks and uses his airbending against the fireball. And I like this caused like such a you know like a backlash and caused Aang to like rebound back onto Appa. It was really cool, actually.
Yeah, that was really cool.
So this was just a really cool fight. I like that they did this in the beginning too, just because, you know, the rest of the episode up until the end was going to be very talkative and everything like that. And it I feel like too it showed the dangers of going to the Fire Nation temple. It would have been kind of weird, like if the last episode like had that big cliffhanger, but like it's in the Fire Nation and then like really nothing happened. So I like that it showed how dangerous this mission.
It would also make you wonder of like, wow, why is the Fire Nation such a threat if you can just like go into the Fire Nation like easily?
Right.
So yeah, seeing it just how many ships they had and like they almost died trying to get in is like definitely showing like why the Fire Nation is such a threat. Also, I do like how so you see Zhao is like the one like the commander of this like blockade.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like, you know, he's like, oh shit, that's the Avatar and a certain banished prince.
Right.
Because this is his first time seeing Aang. And they also continue that Zhao hates Zuko because one of his guys is like, when Zhao says open fire, one of his like guys is like, but sir, there's like a ship out there that's one of ours. And he's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. It belongs to a traitor.
Right, I liked that. I don't know, this Zuko, his ship, the engine got damaged. And at this point too, like one of his crew members like tells him about it. And it's like, the engine of damage, we have to stop. And Zuko's just like, no, we're not stopping type of thing, which I liked because, you know, this leads to I feel like too, I like that not in just the storm, one of his crew members doesn't just get like pissed. It was happening throughout like the show. We just haven't.
Yeah, I think this sets up the storm well. Where like, yeah, like whenever the ship gets damaged or the crew is in danger, Zuko's like, nah, fuck that. I'm still continuing.
Yeah. And you know, I did like I don't think I ever caught this before. Like Aang and Zhao don't actually meet in this episode. They don't meet, I think, until Blue Spirit. So.
Well, it's kind of funny because if you think about it, Aang doesn't really come across Zhao that much. He comes across him this episode like indirectly. Mm-hmm. The Blue Spirit, the Zhong episode, and like the end of Siege of the North.
And it's very brief, so.
Yeah, so like Aang doesn't really come across Zhao that much.
Yeah, so I do like that.
I feel like Zhao's more of like Zuko's villain than Aang's villain.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think of this little fight here and everything? Like
yeah,
that?
I like that. Like you said, I like that because the rest of this episode is very talkative. We got like an action scene in there. It establishes the danger of going to the Fire Nation ain't easy. Because if they just snuck into the Fire Temple without issue, it would have been pretty bullshit. And again, I like that we see Zhao, like he's like the commander of this blockade. Establishes how important he is.
Yeah, I like that. But yeah, and I also like I forgot I missed a big thing. Doing all this Zuko is about to like have a collision with some of the ships, more specifically like Zhao's ships, and they could easily like just arrest Zuko right then, but like Zhao's just like, no, cut the engines, let them pass. And I like, when the engines get caught, I do like we got like a country western like face off between like Zuko and like Zhao there type of thing.
Again, I also like we saw it in episode 3, like how small Zuko's ship is compared to the others. Again, that's a pretty good one where like Zuko has to like look up at Zhao on his ship because his is like fucking 3 times smaller.
Yeah, I like that. But we find out that the whole reason, because I should probably just talk about all the Zuko stuff now, but since it doesn't really connect to anything towards the end. We find out the whole reason that Zhao let Zuko pass was because obviously he's going to follow Zuko so that way he can capture the Avatar also. And by catching the Avatar, also by proxy capturing Zuko, because obviously...
he's like, all right, sweet, 2 birds, 1 stone.
So what Zuko tries to do is he tries to go off...
Real quick, I brought it up in episode 3. I just want to say it again. It is hilarious how much this like 40-something-year-old grown-ass man hates this 16-year-old kid.
I know. And it's been that way for a while, because I don't know if you remember, like, doing that face-off, like, when his dad...
Yeah, when Zuko was, like, 13 and, like, his dad burned his face, Zhao's just sitting there smiling, like, yeah!
Like, I can understand Azula, but, like, Zuko is just, like,
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, not Zuko, but Zhao is just, like, smug about
it. Remember Kiss Sis, how we had half an episode of the teacher daydreaming about Kita? Mm-hmm. It's like Zhao at night is sleeping, dreaming about fucking beating the shit out of Zuko.
As long as it's not the same way as the teacher did it in Kiss.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go like
same vibe.
And it's also like in Kiss Sicily, when Kita's dad was like laughing about the fact that like his son's hopes and dreams were being crushed. Zhao's just over there laughing.
Zhao's just sitting there, like Zuko's upset that his dad's never gonna love him, and Zhao's like, yeah.
I like to think like Zhao's got like Zhao and like Fire Lord Ozai are just high-fiving about the fact that like Zuko's just unloved and everything like that. Like Zhao,
I know, right? Ozai's like, you hate Zuko? Hell yeah!
Zhao, Zuko, and Azula are all just like just chilling.
Yeah, they have like a fan club of like a little anti-fan club. It's like the Hate Zuko club.
Yeah, and Zuko can't even go to her own club named after him.
I know, right? Because it's in the Fire Nation, he can't go there.
But yeah, so we find out. But yeah, so what Zuko tries to do is he's gonna have Iroh like continue going on, because he's also the edge of being damaged actually ended up being more important. He was gonna follow the smoke, and Zuko was gonna use it as like a cover so that way he could like sneak into the temple. We find out later that didn't work. I'm kind of disappointed they didn't show why that didn't work. I guess it was just to be done as like a reveal later, but it's kind of weird because like
because when Zhao's like looking at the smokes at like all the smoke through like the telescope, he kind of like squints a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Like it's kind of implied that like he kind of figured Zuko was like using the smoke as a distraction.
Oh, I didn't catch that originally. So
okay.
So
like I don't think he saw Zuko, but I think he kind of like figured Zuko was like gonna pull some kind of trick.
Okay. Plus, the temple's massive too. It's not like I don't think I don't think it's
Yeah, it's like in that general direction. So Zhao's like, okay, what's in that direction? The Avatar Roku temple. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. But I liked the little Zuko plot here. I like that he tried to outsmart like Zhao type of thing. It just didn't really work for him. So.
And I do like that Zuko was like trying to figure out like, why did Zhao let me go? Like he didn't just take it at face value.
Right. So.
And then Iroh obviously being like the wise old man, like saw right away, like, okay, obviously Zhao's letting you through so we could follow you and capture Aang.
Mm-hmm. So I like that. But yeah, I think you're gonna be talking for a while. So.
Yeah. So they get to the temple and they park up there, park off like he's a car. And I like how Katara's like talking to Appa, like, "Oh my god, you must be so tired." And Sokka thinks she's talking to him, and it's like, "Said, thanks for worrying about me, though." And then Katara's like, "I was talking to Appa," and Sokka gets embarrassed, and he's like, well, I was talking to Momo."
And Momo just looks over
Pretty
like
funny joke, before we get some serious stuff.
what made this joke funny to me too was like Momo just looks over too, like right after Sokka says this too. That's really what makes the joke funny too. Like,
Yeah. So they kind of just walk right in. Good thing the door wasn't locked.
mhm.
And no one's there, it seems like. And they're like, okay, we got to get to the top floor. And I do like that Aang knows where it is, because remember, he rode there on the dragon, like to that specific room.
Yeah.
So like he doesn't, because he flew through the floors. He doesn't know like the exact like hallways to get there, but he just knows like generally where it is.
Right. So I like that.
But they turn around, and I guess fucking they learn to kiss his teleporting power, because the 7 sages are right there, right behind them.
Mhm.
And they're like, "We are the guardians of the temple, and we serve the Avatar." And he's like, "Oh, well, hey, what a coincidence! I'm the Avatar." And they're like, "Yeah, we know." Gee, it's almost like you have fucking Airbender tattoos, you moron.
I know, yeah.
And then they immediately shoot fireballs at Aang. Aang tells Katara and Sokka to go, and he'll hold them off. And Aang kind of just knocked everyone on their ass and uses his super speed that he forgets he has a lot, and chases after them.
I do like, by the way, because I always like to point out when they went, because they clearly went to commercial here. I think this was a good time to do it, because obviously they're supposed to be like serving the Avatar. So like during the break, you're like left wondering like, wait, why did they attack the Avatar then if like they're supposed to be like, serving them? So because that becomes like a big thing in this episode. We find out why. So
but yeah, Aang and Katara and Sokka are just kind of running through the hallways, and they don't really know where they're going. I'm pretty sure they even make a joke about that. Katara's like, "Do you know where you're going?" Aang's like, "Nope."
Yeah, but they're trying to get it. They're trying to find because they're also trying to find the room to get to Roku, but they're also trying to get away from these guys at the same time.
Right. So like 2 birds, 1 stone. Aang runs ahead and goes down a corner, and then Aang like quickly runs back, and he's like, "Wrong way."
I like that.
And we see one of the fire sages, and he's like, "Wait, stop!" But like he's not attacking them, so clearly like it's like he's like friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like okay, you wouldn't know that on a first viewing, but I do like they're kind of like showing he's not like attacking them. Like he seems genuine when he's like, "Wait, stop."
Yeah, I like that. I would think I kind of caught that. I mean, I was 9 when I caught this, but if I was this age now watching this for the first time, I think I'd catch it, because obviously he's like, "Wait, stop."
Yeah. Again, I feel like if you saw this at your current age first time, you would have caught it. But like as a kid, I thought he was like just bullshitting.
Right.
But again, they're like going around the hallway trying to escape, and they hit a dead end. And the fire sage is right behind them, but he's like, "Listen, I'm not your enemy," and he like bows to him. And he's like, "Avatar, like I've waited a long time for you to be here. Like it's an honor to meet you."
Mm-hmm.
And I like that they still don't like immediately trust this guy, but they hear the other fire sages like coming, so they're like, "Okay, we don't really have a choice but to trust him if he's saying he could like get us out of here."
Also, too, because he opens that door and like.
Wait, I was gonna say he like there's like a little hidden passage. He like flips one of the like lanterns, and like I like that we see like the door is activated when he like puts fire into like the little hole.
Yeah.
Because that established, that's gonna come back to that in a couple minutes.
By the way, too, this is. Did we see this guy? I know they're gonna say I think his name is Shayu. Was this the guy that was like?
Yeah, we did see him like when all the sages were together when they first showed up. Yeah.
No. When because remember like in the Southern Air Temple, I think they go to this temple because he mentions like the statue was glowing and stuff. I think.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that we did see him.
Yeah, like because he's the guy that like one of the sages like tells I think him that like the fight. So like I like because he mentions that like. In the next conversation you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, I like that we've
I was actually surprised though. Yeah, and so in this conversation, so they're the hidden passage leads to like it's like through like the because this is like a temple built on like a volcano island, and this like passageway like isn't temple, it's like underground, like in like you can see like kind of magma on the walls and stuff.
Yeah, I really like the way
it's like a cave kind of.
I really liked like the way this was drawn and just like the setting of the temple. I think it looked really cool.
Yeah, really awesome design. And again, I think it's fitting because this is our first time in the Fire Nation. So like you want the first impression to be like cool,
And I like the background of like
cool.
I like that the background, like the setting of this, like had like a red darkness like behind it and everything like that too.
Yeah, exactly. It really sets the tone. And I like we actually learn a bit more about the history of this temple. So this
And the
guy's
sages
explaining,
too.
yeah, and the sages. So we end up finding out that Roku, because I was confused because I thought they built this temple like after Roku died, but no. So we find out Roku built this temple himself, and this he said Roku. This used to be Roku's home. Like Roku used to live here,
Hmm.
which is kind of cool because we end up finding out like he also had a different home, like which he ended up dying on,
Yeah.
which was also a volcano. So I guess Roku just was like big into volcanoes.
Yeah, don't we see this temple too? Like when in the flashback when Aiden's like when he's showing, or is that the other home I'm thinking of when he's telling Aiden about like how the war started and everything like that.
Different temple, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
Are you talking about where he died?
not when he died, but like oh maybe not. I might be mixed. I thought it was originally because I remember he goes in, he's like pissed at Sozin for like about to start the war, but I got it.
No. That was like Sozin's like palace.
Okay, it's like different palace.
Yeah, I know they all kind of look the same. Not to be sock and be racist to the firebenders, but to be fair, all your buildings kind of look the same.
To be fair, too, I haven't seen. I haven't. It's been a little bit since I've seen Avatar, so.
Yeah. Maybe think of. I like how when they have like an architect and they're like, all right, guys, what color are we gonna do this? Black and red. It's like, oh wow, we're being. It's like Squidward. It's like daring today.
Yep.
Like every fucking building is black and red. If we're feeling spicy, we'll do a dark red.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that we find out. So Roku built this temple and like the tunnels that they're in, like the secret tunnels. Secret tunnel. These tunnels were like dug by Roku because he can like magma bend.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. That's
that's pretty cool. Because that's like our first time we've like heard about that.
Did they ever do it? Like, did they ever do it again? No.
Yeah, and Korra, we learned a bit more about like magma bending.
Oh, okay, I haven't seen Korra yet, so that's probably why I haven't seen it. So
because it seems kind of specific. So the Avatar can do it because it's like fire and earth.
That makes sense, yeah.
And then in Korra, it's like we find out it's a pretty rare ability, and like one of the only people we know who can do it had like a firebender and earthbender parent.
Okay.
So it's kind of implied like you need like fire and earth like genes.
I'm just curious, by the way. So like, other than the Avatar, like I know they can say they can master all 4 elements.
Okay, so you only bend one.
Okay, I thought you could.
So like the guy who magma bends is an earthbender. Like he can't bend fire.
Okay.
It's just that like he had a firebender mom.
Yeah.
So like that kind of makes it so he can bend magma. Like that's implied why he can do it.
Okay.
And the Avatar can do it because he can bend all 4.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm just saying that's the implication, yeah. But yeah, no, you're right. Only the Avatar is the only one who can bend more than one.
I got it. Yeah.
Because it'd be a little weird if Katara all of a sudden was just like, "Hey, I can bend earth and air. I can't bend fire, but I can bend the other 3."
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So as a kid, I thought that I was like, "Wait, why doesn't everyone else just like learn 3 out of the 4?" It's like, okay, everyone else only gets 1.
Right. Unless you have, like you said, like you have parents of different nations and all that stuff. So.
Well, even then, like you can't, like if your parents were earth and air, like you can't bend earth and air. You can only bend 1.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. The guy who had like 2 parents, like he's an earthbender. Like he's only an earthbender. He can't bend fire.
Okay.
Like because he had a firebender parent, like he can bend magma, like because that's like part of earth.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So like he can't actually bend fire. Just he has like he's one of the rare people who can bend magma.
Yeah.
So sorry, a little tangent, but it's cool because it's our first introduction to magma.
Yeah, I
bending.
like that.
And by the way, that's unconfirmed. That's like that might it's just that's implied why he can do it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see until I see that episode of Korra.
Yeah. Yeah. So there I go through the tunnel, and Roku built this temple when he was alive, and it was his home, I guess, and then he ditched it for a different home. I like that. I mean, he's the Avatar. He's rich. He probably had a few homes.
Yeah, and I like how Aang can't even get one.
I know, right? He fucking just lives on the back of his pet. And these sages, they worshipped the Avatar, not the Fire Lord. But when Sozin started the war, he forced the Fire sages to like worship him. And it's also because the Avatar wasn't around.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like they believe the Avatar was never coming back.
Yeah, and I do like though that like, also it's because obviously because the sages that like ended up growing up like later on, because obviously these aren't the same sages from then. They've just been grown up to like obey like the Fire Lord and stuff. So that's also...
Yeah, because whatever his name is, I forget his name. But the
Shayu.
Fire sages like help, huh?
Shayu. What are you talking about?
Shayu mentions that like his grandfather knew Roku, and then when Sozin started the war, he forced all those sages to worship him.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously like now we're like 2 generations later, so like even if those Fire sages like were still loyal to the Avatar, but they had to work with the Fire Lord. Like by this point, like it's just like they're far enough away where they were never loyal to the Avatar.
Which I like. I like that, like because of that generation, it like everyone says, oh, it's how people say nowadays, oh, this generation or generational stuff, all that stuff. That's literally what happens here, type of thing.
Yeah. And then Shayu is like different because he's not he's built different. He's not like the other girls.
Oh no.
He he's like I never wanted to serve a Fire Lord. I wanted to be like my grandfather who originally worked with the Avatar.
And I do like that he knew the Avatar like originally, so it's not just some random guy. Like he has like a connection with the Avatar type of thing. So.
And I like how Aang feels bad. He's like, oh my god, 100 years they were waiting for me to come back, and I never did. And Sokka just makes a joke out of it. He's like, I don't feel too bad. You're only 100 years late.
Yeah, I did like that.
And then Shayu says that a few weeks ago, like the Roku statue began to glow, so we knew you came back. And Katara says, oh, a few weeks ago, that's when we were at the Southern Air Temple. And I was like, whoa, a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I was like surprised it's been that long.
Yeah, I know. But I guess that kind of makes sense because, they have a flying bison, so, like, I guess that kind of works out.
Yeah. Well, I think each book, because it's like 9 months until Sozin's Comet, each book seems to be over like 3 months about.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're like a third through the season right now. So, yeah, they've probably been traveling for about a month. A few weeks makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So...
It just like caught me off guard. But when I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. A few weeks.
Yeah.
Probably like
they don't stay... And like Katara has said before, they don't stay in one area for like too long. And all that
stuff.
So...
And to be fair, they get the Northern Water Tribe at around like episode 18 or so, or 19.
Yeah.
And, they start at the South Pole, so they do have to travel the entire planet.
Yes, yeah.
So it makes sense it has been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aang thanks Shayu for helping him, and he smiles at him. This would be a cool what if, because Shayu ends up getting separated from them. If, like, Shayu's stuck with them.
Yeah.
Because Aang could have a firebender teacher early.
Yeah, he could. He could have. And, what if, because his first firebender experience kind of didn't really, like, go well. So would Shayu have been able to teach him? Yeah,
Shayu might have been able to, like, prevent him from hurting Katara. Or if he did still hurt Katara, Shayu could have talked him out of, like, being so afraid of firebending.
Yeah. So I like that. So, yeah, well... is this still you? Because like Shayu explains like what you're supposed to do, but that's kind of like when they're still walking in this. Or should I just talk about it now? Because that's like this is.
Yeah, just talk about it because it's like when they get to the door.
So Shayu explains, that when they get to the temple, just to like rush inside, and when the light hits Roku's statue, that's when they'll be able to speak with him. And then when they get to like the main entrance to like Roku's like temple, we see that they're closed. So I like to think that like maybe they weren't open the whole time, but like they closed that off so that way they if they ever do.
Yeah, because Shayu seems surprised that they're closed, so I think the fire sages like shut it.
Yeah.
Like if Aang did get there, he couldn't get in. And
they'd be fucked if Aang knew firebending already. By the way, I guess. So.
Well, yeah, because Shayu says. Like normally only a fully realized avatar can like produce enough fire to open the door. And like if you don't have a fully realized avatar, only like the five. It is 5 sages, not 7. I'm a dumbass. Only the 5 sages together can open it.
Yeah.
Okay, not even the 5 sages, just like 5 powerful firebenders.
Yeah, because we see later on that like Zuko tries to like do it and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I do like that, kind of made it like, because it made it, again, it's the fire event. It's like, it shouldn't be easy to do this stuff. So I always kind of like it when the characters have to kind of struggle a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Roku's kind of a dick though, because I think it's implied that like he built this temple, right? Like he built the door.
Yeah.
So Roku was like, okay, if my successor wants to talk to me, he's got to fucking shoot 5 fireballs. This won't backfire on me whatsoever.
Especially too, like
now I'm off to hang out with my good buddy Sozin, who will never betray me.
By the way, I like to think too that like anytime Roku like just wants some time to himself, he just goes into this room because like absolutely nobody.
Yeah, I think it's why. He's like, oh my god, all these fucking fire sages are always bothering me. Like, oh Roku, the building's on fire. Like, come on, man. I don't want to be saving people all the time. I just need a little bit of me time. Me and the statue of me for some reason.
So
I think that's why I thought this temple was built after Roku died. Because normally you only build a statue for someone like after they have passed away.
Yeah, but I guess
so when this fire sage said Roku built this place and lived here, I'm like, Roku, wow, you're kind of you built a statue of yourself. Like, damn, dude.
It's that time, There's no war yet, so he's got nothing going on. So, he's got a war that he can't prevent from happening. Apparently.
I know, right? The fire sage is like, "Hey, Roku, shouldn't you be like trying to talk with Sozin and maybe like try to calm him down?" And he's like, "I don't know. I kind of want to keep staring at myself." I'm like, "Damn, I'm pretty."
But anyhow, yeah. So Shayu kind of explains how to get into the store, and Sokka comes up with an idea, and I kind of like this because one of like the lanterns was above him, showing like that was like his light bulb moment type.
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah, I like that.
And Sokka creates, what does he really create? But like he makes fake fire bending. I did like this, because literally the last episode we just talked about, they did fake earth bending, and like Ain's been kind of cheating the system when it comes to bending, like with the cannonball scene. So I do kind of like that they've been doing this, like cheating the system a little bit. And we find out that this is a trick that his father used to do. He would take like oil and like carcasses or whatever, and like put them in like a bag. And
like make little bombs, yeah.
And yes, I do like this too. That Sokka like knew how to do this and everything like that. I kind of wish that we could have actually like seen like his dad do this or something like that. That would have been kind of cool.
Well, if you remember when we actually do see Sokka's dad, he is showing Sokka how to make like a bomb.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And I think it makes sense because Sokka's dad is the chief of the Southern Water Tribe, and he's like the leader of their military.
Yeah, so it makes sense that like
I think it would make sense that Hakoda would know how to like do all this like war shit, and he would have taught Sokka some of it.
Yeah. So they try it. Sokka puts all the bags into like the little holes of like the doors that had like dragon mouths on them type of thing, and Shayu lights it, and a big explosion goes off, and it didn't work. We see like a bunch of smoke goes down, and when it goes away, like they see that the doors are still closed, and they're like surprised about this too. Like they're like,
I do like how they say like also like Aang's gonna rush in because like the fire sages will like hear the bombs go off.
Mm-hmm. I guess they didn't because
so now it's like shit. It didn't work, and the fire sages are on their way.
Yeah, I guess it didn't though. They didn't show up for like a while, so I guess it didn't.
Yeah, I know, right? They're like any minute now. Wow. I mean, well, you know what? They're old guys. It takes them a while to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Remember that Family Guy thing where Hubert was like fighting the Nazi dude, and it was like in slow motion?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that. The fire sages are like, oh my god, all these stairs.
But Shayu, and like everyone's like surprised that it didn't work. And Sokka doesn't understand this, obviously too, because that blast looked like really big, and like he's like thinking that like it should have worked, and like he's like rubbing like the doors, like seeing like there's like a bunch of ashes on it, and like soot on it type of thing. And Katara's just like, Sokka, you're a genius. And like Aang's like confused about this, and I do like they kind of make a joke out of this. Where Aang's like, has the definition of genius changed in the last 100 years? So I like that they made a joke out of it.
Yeah, and I also do like how Sokka is like Aang's like, why is he a genius? It didn't work, and Sokka's like, hey, come on, let her dream. Like he's like, listen, I'll take the compliment.
But Katara points out like, Sokka's plan like didn't work, but it looks like it did. And I do kind of like they threw that line in there because like it makes the audience question like, what the hell are they talking? Because you don't actually know what they're talking about, and I like that you're kind of in Aang's shoes because Aang doesn't really know what he's talking about.
Well, I also like how while Sokka's talking about how it looked like it worked, you see Momo kind of just like in the background, like stuffing his head in the in one of the holes.
So what happens is Shayu tells the other like fire sages that like the Avatar got into the temple, and you see like a shadow in there as if he's in there. And I do like that they showed Aang like ready to rush in, so it showed that they were like planning something. So
I also like how one of the fire sages was like, "What? How?" And Shayu was like, "I don't know, but look, he's in. You can see a shadow in there."
Yeah.
So like, I do like the other sages were like confused. They're like, that doesn't make any sense, but they're like, "Fuck it," I guess he's in there.
So yeah, all of them. I think all of them but Shayu like does like opens the temple doors.
Well, no, I think all 5 of them do.
Oh, okay. I always thought there was an extra one, like a 6th one type of thing. And you think the 7?
I think it's just 5.
You think the 7? I think the 6. I guess there's like extra people that aren't there, type of thing.
Yeah.
So
it's like yellow. It's the reverse of Yellow Jackets, where we think we know how many people are there, but it's always the number is always different.
Yeah.
Here, the number is the same, but we can't get it right.
So maybe I remember we complaining in Yellow Jackets. We should have gotten a better head count. It seems like to us we got a pretty good head count of like the sages in Avatar, and we still can't get it right.
Yeah, I know, right? We're like, it's such a low number too. Like it's 5 people, and we're like, fuck. How do you count to 5 again?
But yeah, so the fire sages open the door, and they see that it's the Momo's in there, so they realize that they've been tricked, and Katara, Sokka, like they pretty much hold down like the sages, and I didn't really realize this time either until I watched it this time. They didn't realize that Shayu was like the man on the inside type of thing until like he grabbed one of them type of thing.
Yeah.
So I did like.
Yeah, I do like there was just enough. So yeah, Shayu grabbed one of them, Katara the other, Sokka the third, and then Momo like jumped on the main dude.
Yeah. And
I do like there's just enough to like hold off the other 4.
And I like the too that they kept showing Aang any point in time Aang could have rushed in, but like Aang has a perfect opportunity to rush in. Like everyone's being held down, and we see that he's just not taking the opportunity to jump in. We find out later that Aang just didn't feel like talking to Roku anymore. He's just
Aang like fell asleep. He's like, it's like Iroh last episode. He's like, oh, I must have missed my curfew.
Or Aang just said like, fuck it, I'm not talking to Roku anymore. I'm not feeling.
Yeah, right. I don't. That guy's a dick.
Yeah, but no, we see that.
I can't believe I used to be that guy. Unbelievable.
But yeah, I did like that. Like Aang didn't come out right away, so like we're like wondering what happened. So we see that Zuko ambushed Aang. He's like, holding his arms back. He's like, the Avatar's coming with me. So I did like that. We didn't actually see like Zuko jump Aang or anything like that type of thing. So I liked that.
And then the other fire sages like reverse their holds, so like they get the heroes and are held now. And I do like the fire sages must be so confused. They're like, who the fuck is this guy? Well, he's wearing Fire Nation gear, so I guess he's with us.
Yeah. So Zuko even tells him like to close the doors, and so like you think like, okay, yeah, there's no chance now like Aang's gonna be able to meet with like Roku, but Aang like turns it back on Zuko like very quickly, like knocks him down like the stairs pretty much.
Dude, that looked like a mean fall. Again, I would love Zuko just like hits his head on one of the stairs, breaks his neck, and he's just not in the show anymore, and just fucking murdered him.
Yeah.
Because again, when Aang in Sozin's comment says, "I've never killed anyone," bullshit.
Right. But yeah, Aang like Aang uses the opportunity to now that he's free to like rush in, and like he's like dodging the fire sage and everything like that, and the doors are like about to close. Aang makes it in like just at like the nick of time type of thing. It is kind of one of those things like in sitcoms and like cartoons, like of course it happened at the nick of time, but I feel like Avatar did this like very well, like where Aang did it just like the nick of time.
Yeah, well, Zuko said shut the door. They were shutting the door, and Aang broke free from Zuko and got in there. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I thought, and it makes sense too, because like Aang you know, you could kind of believe like would have made it in there type of thing. It would have been awesome if he didn't make it in, and like one of his legs got closed like in the door, and like Roku like is about to talk, like shows up and he sees Aang's just
like Roku's like, hey Aang, oh god, your fucking legs are off, Jesus.
Never mind, I can't tell you what I was gonna tell you now type of thing. So
yeah, well, you're gonna bleed out. I guess we're gonna have to wait for the next guy.
But yeah, I really like this scene here. I like that Sokka tried to do his plan. And I do like it shows how I feel like I didn't really do a good job. Like I really like it showed how innovative like Sokka is, that he comes up like he's the guy that comes up with all the plans. I do feel bad because this isn't really a good example of it because the plan doesn't work. But I like that his plan, even though it didn't work the way they thought, kind of caused, you know, them to like be able to go like get into the temple kind of still anyways type of thing. So
yeah, I do like that. Yeah.
So yeah,
I feel like that tends to be a trend in the show. That like Sokka's plan usually doesn't work the first time, but like he'll get it on the second attempt.
Yeah, I feel like this one really wasn't like a second attempt though. It was more like his plan worked, just not in the way that they had intended for it to work type of thing.
Yeah.
I do like that Sokka's plan didn't work too. That'd be kind of like bullshit if they could just fake like the firebending.
Yeah,
type of thing.
I do like it when, you know, like shows will be like, okay, you know, they don't get it first try, but like, you know, they'll like, yeah, again, I like that, like kind of like took what happened with the first attempt and like made a good second attempt out of that. Yeah,
it seems weird. We don't seem to know what we want though sometimes, because I remember that's the whole reason we like in Death Note, we like when L does the plan to get like Oguchi, like the business guy. We like that his plan pretty much worked like exactly like to a T type of thing.
I feel like in this situation it was like a last second, like, you know, they kind of just like pieced together like a plan.
Yeah.
Whereas with that one, it was like they had like planned it out and like thought everything through so much,
right,
that like it was satisfying to see like all that hard work it took to like plan it paid off.
Yeah, I guess so. That's cool. But yeah, I really like. What did you think of like all of the everything like outside the temple, trying to get in, and then finally getting into the temple and everything like that?
I really like it. Again, you know, some good action scenes. You know, like, well, not even action scene where they're like running away from the sages. Getting some cool lore on like the, you know, what this place is, how it's connected to Roku. I think it makes sense that one of the fire sages would still be loyal to the Avatar since that was their original purpose.
Yeah.
And like you said, it was really cool that like Sokka thought of this like attempt like last second. And like, you know, even though it didn't work, and they were able to like make the best out of the bad situation and get Aang in there. And I do like once Aang got in there, like that glow happened, and like as we're gonna see in a second, they try to open the door again, and it doesn't work because as soon as Aang got in there, Roku was like, "Fuck you guys," and like kept the door shut.
He's like, I want to talk to this guy. I'm talking to him uninterrupted type of thing.
It's like Roku is physically like it's like when your sibling is trying to get into your room and you're just like fucking holding the door. Like Roku's like, okay, Aang, while I'm doing this, so there's this thing called Sozin's Comet, you know.
But yeah,
I love that Roku's like such like a serious character in the show, but we make him sound like such a fucking goober.
Yeah, wait until you. They haven't even heard what we were talking about off screen before you were about to talk about this conversation. But before that, I forgot there was a couple other things before like Roku and Aang's conversation. So you know, they're trying to break into the temple, and like you said, Roku doesn't want anyone inside. Because, you know, his friend came over, you know, he wants to talk to his friend, you know.
Yeah, like, hey, Aang, what's up? I like how he's like, Aang, what took you so long? He's like, well, you know, I got frozen.
Yeah. So, I like that. I like that was Roku's first reaction. He doesn't mention like, oh wait, why am I talking to you like now type of thing. He shouldn't even be talking to him at all if that's the thing, you know.
Yeah, I know. Right? Well, I guess, you know, Roku's it's kind of weird. Like Roku, I guess, knows what Aang's doing all the time.
Yeah, well, it's him, so, you know.
Well, yeah, it is him. So, yeah, I guess Roku does always kind of know what Aang's up to, so, yeah.
But anyhow, so, you know, they're trying to get in, and doing all this, like, the fight with, like, you know, when Aang was getting in there, like, Sokka and Katara got chained to, like, one of the, like, the stalagmites, or, like, the, you know, the kaleidoscope.
Well, no, I think it's a pillar.
I didn't know what it was, so I was trying to think of the name.
Well, yeah, definitely one of those. I was like, we're not in the cave still. Like, we're in the temple.
Yeah. So yeah, they get.
I like it's like this nice temple, and there's just a fucking random rock there.
Yeah, but yeah, they get chained to one of the pillars. Momo just takes off. He just fucks off. He I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we find out what he's doing later, but like, you know, it's.
Again, Momo's like, "Fuck you guys."
I like that he leaves with one of like the sage's like cloths or whatever. He just like took off with it, type of thing. That was cool.
I wish he kept it. Honestly, that would have been cool.
Yeah, but you know, Zuko's like asking like Shayu, I must have said Shallow, why he helped the Avatar, and he even says like because it's the sage's duty to protect the Avatar, and it always should be the sage's duty. And then like we hear like an applause going on by somebody off screen, and it's Zhao.
A condescending slow clap.
And you know, Zhao's like happy type of thing, but he's being very condescending about it, saying like, "Wow, I'm sure the Fire Lord's gonna be, you know, ever so happy to hear like why the reason you betrayed him." I mean, if it's the Fire Lord from the last AirBender movie, I don't think. No, it's Zhao.
Yeah, I mean that guy's pretty lame. I feel like Shayu would be like, "Are you like the Fire Lord or like a Walmart manager?"
But you know, Zhao's happy, and Zhao admits like Zuko's plan didn't work. So I do kind of like that he throws shade at Zuko. That like he said, "Yeah, you tried to outsmart me, but that didn't happen." So
yeah, and then I like how he has two of his guys get behind Zuko and like restrain him. So he's like, "All right, you're in the Fire Nation when you shouldn't be. So I'm arresting you." Mm-hmm. Nice little bonus there.
And Zuko even says like, "Forget it, Zhao. Like the Avatar's in the temple, and there's no chance you're getting inside." And Zuko, I like how Zhao's just like, okay, well, he's gonna have to come out sooner and later. So doing all this, they'll like get it in, you know, Zhao and his men, like all of them too, like a ton of them went in there, like get it in position.
I do like this about Zhao. Like he legit, like a lot of times villains will be stupid, and they'll just like, you know, like they'll not put nearly enough effort into like stopping the heroes, and you're kind of like, okay, did you even want to win? I feel like most of the time Zhao legitimately like takes everyone seriously.
Yeah, I do like that.
Like Zhao, yeah, you're right. Like had all of his men like waiting at the door and like, all right, guys, like we got this. Like it's literally like one kid versus like 50 of us. Like we got this.
And I do like
the only way he could win if he like became Roku or something. But like that's ridiculous.
But I do like too that like Zhao even like said like, okay. Like, why would I try to break in and, like, use all our energy? Like, he's got to come out of it. Like, there's only one place.
That was a good point. It's like, cool, he got in, but, like, what's he going to do? Stay in there for another 100 years?
Yeah.
Imagine he did.
I do like, by the way, too, because you don't notice it first time going around. You didn't really see the sages much when Zhao shows up, and then you find out later why. So I do like that, like, you know, there was a reason we didn't really see the sages, because I didn't really notice it, like, when I first watched it, but like that the sages really weren't helping Zhao type of thing. We find out why later on. I do like too that.
Sorry. Oh yeah, go ahead.
You know, when Zhao and his men were getting in position, we heard like not Zhao, but like his men were doing some type of like weird like seance or something. Like when they were getting ready to like unleash fire blasts. I've never really heard them do that before, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, I never noticed that.
Yeah, they do like a little chant type of thing. So
I never noticed that. I was just saying, like, this must be so weird for Zhao, because, you know, he was just, like, at the blockade, just chilling. He's like, all right, just a normal day. All of a sudden, now he's at the fire temple. He's captured the traitorous fire sage. He's captured Zuko, and now he's capturing the Avatar. He's like, dude, I woke up today thinking it was just going to be a normal-ass day, and now it's the fucking best day of my life.
By the way, I don't think we talked about this. Does Zhao even know that, like, the Avatar's like a kid? I don't even think he does.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think he knows. It's also weird, because he never actually sees what Aang looks like here.
Yeah. So, like, but, like, I do like to think, too, I guess Zhao knew, like...
Well, actually, no, in episode 3, remember, he says he, like, interviewed Zuko's crew, and he found out, like, Aang was just a kid.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because, like...
I mean, he does know Aang's a kid, yeah.
But, yeah, so, yeah, why don't we talk about everything that goes... why don't we talk about the Avatar and the Roku's nice little conversation? Well, it's not really a nice conversation, but it's a conversation nonetheless. It's
not the most pleasant. Aang, you know, probably doesn't rank in Aang's top 10. So Aang gets into the room, and he's, like, confused, because he's like, okay, I'm in the room, lights on the statue, what's happening? And I like he's getting legitimately pissed, you know, because he's like, you know, do you know how much I've sacrificed? You know, it took all this effort to get here, and, you know, it's like, what do I do? And
it'd be funny if
again, kind of like last episode where I like that Aang's like frustrated. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it'd be funny if Roku just decided I'm just a no-show after all that. He's just like, yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
Like he was getting ready for the Zoom meeting, but he's like, I gotta take a piss, and then he's like, fuck, I missed it. Oh well, sorry, Aang.
Is this just a Zoom call then? That's what the spirit world is, just a Zoom call, like a
it's just a Zoom call. It really is just a Zoom call. Roku's like, hey Aang, hop on Discord. Yeah, I like that we've made Roku such a fucking dumb mess.
That's gonna
But
be
yeah,
like,
anyway, Aang was just impatient because 5 seconds later, the statue lights up, big gust of winds happens, and Aang all of a sudden is like in the spirit world with Roku, and Roku's like, "Hey, Aang, what's up? Finally hopped on Discord, huh?"
yeah.
And I like how Aang like just like bows to him, like he's like so respectful of him.
I like that.
'Cause
Yeah.
I do like that. And a lot of their conversations, Roku is like calling himself a failure, and then like he like fucked up and he started the war, which isn't wrong. But like I like that Aang like never considered him like a failure, like he always respected him.
Yeah, I like that.
Like because it's like Aang feels like a failure for running away and starting the war. But Roku's like, look, dude, that wasn't your fault. Like you're kind of just dealing with my bullshit.
Yeah,
You know?
I like that.
Like
And,
I kind of just left him with a fucking mess.
I feel like too we don't talk about this a lot. Like we're making a joke about it, but that is a pretty common thing. Like in politics, like when a war happens, sometimes like the president or like the leader of like a nation, the next one in line basically has to like deal with that bullshit pretty much.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
pretty common.
I agree.
So like I don't want to make a big joke out of it and everything like that, but that is pretty common. So like
Yeah. So I'm just saying I do like that kind of dynamic where both of them feel guilty.
yeah.
Like Aang is, obviously for running away, but Roku's like, look, dude, again, this is all my fault. Like, like don't be too hard on yourself or myself because we're the same person. Again, I like jumping ahead a bit, but I love in book 3 when he says to Aang, like, this is all my fault, but like, I know you're destined to like redeem me and like make up for my mistakes.
Yeah, I like that.
Because you kind of see that here. I like that like Roku like believes in Aang 100%. Because Roku's like, okay, look, when you were in the spirit world, I sensed you were there, and I had my dragon like come contact you and like tell you to come here because I have to tell you about that comet. And it's so basically 100 years ago, the comet showed up and it like gave the firebenders like all that incredible power.
Yeah.
It's crazy. All this crazy bullshit always happens to the firebenders because the solar eclipse makes them lose their power, and then they have like a comet that like makes them like 10 times stronger. I'm like, why don't the fucking earthbenders have any of this bullshit?
Well, and the waterbenders get the moon at least. They get the moon.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the waterbenders get the moon. It's like what the fuck do the airbenders get? What do the earthbenders get? They don't get jack shit.
Yeah, they get nothing. Well, they get nothing.
Yeah, well the airbenders get the fucking die is what they get.
Yeah, that's what they get. Yeah.
Yeah. Specifically because of the comet. And Roku's like, okay, so yeah, the firebenders took over. So they launched the war. So I was saying the air nomads getting wiped out, but like it wasn't just air nomads. It was like they also launched an attack on the Earth Kingdom, and maybe the Water Tribe. I don't know. It seems like they don't really care about the Water Tribe. Whenever it's like, hey, Water Tribe, you gonna like help us? And they're like, nah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they launched. They used the comet's power to launch the war, and which was pretty smart because remember, so Roku died 12 years before Aang, ran away, and Sozin launched the war.
Yeah.
So I think it was smart of Sozin to like not immediately start the war. He's like, okay, look, the comet's only 12 years away. I'm gonna launch it then.
Yeah. So I like to think makes you question like kind of what they were doing all that time and everything like that.
Yeah, because it is curious, like if Roku lived another 12 years when the comet happened, because I think you brought that up off camera. It's like, would Sozin still have started the war?
Yeah.
Because he's like, okay, we got the comet, but Roku's still alive, and that guy can, I don't really want to mess with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and Aang's confused. He's like, okay, cool history lesson, but like, what does the comet have to do with like now? And Roku's like, okay, look, so that comet happens every 100 years, so it's gonna come back, in summer, and Ozai is gonna use it to finish the war.
Yeah, I do like that too. Because now it gave it like we've been saying the whole time, the last few videos that like Aang doesn't know about the comet yet, so all he knows he has a ton of time to like get to the North Pole. So this kind of gives like.
Yeah, because I think Aang, Katara, and Sokka were expecting, like, okay, like, we have years for you to master the elements.
Mm-hmm.
And, Aang even points it out. It's like, I don't even know water, let alone earth or fire. And, like, I only have 9 months to master them.
Yeah. And even, Roku even says like mastering the elements takes like years of practice type of thing. So,
Well, like if the Earth is going to survive, like you have to master them all in a year,
yeah,
less than a year.
yeah, because it's the summer.
And I do like how we see in Roku's like flashback episode, the Avatar and the Fire Lord. We find out like it took Roku like 12 years to like master them all.
Right.
So like again, that's pretty nuts. And like it took Roku over a decade, but Aang had less than a year.
And I do like, by the way, like I know we're gonna talk about this, that Aang actually didn't master all the elements type of thing in that time.
Yeah, he just like learned them. Yeah.
Because that would have been kind of stupid if we talk about Gary Stews. Aang would have been a total Gary Stew no matter what you threw at him if he had mastered all the elements in that time.
Yeah, he just kind of had like a good grasp of them. I definitely wouldn't say he mastered them.
Do you think he mastered, other than air, do you think he mastered any other of them? I don't even think he mastered water.
I feel like water is debatable, but like I wouldn't even say he mastered water. And then like we're flat out told in Sozin's Comet, like Aang hasn't mastered fire or earth.
Right. Because he just started fire, and then like Toph even says like your earthbender could use some work type of thing.
Yeah,
so,
they don't really comment on water. I wouldn't say he mastered water.
Because he never uses water once he kind of learns earthbending anymore, really. So.
Yeah, he really doesn't use water that much. And then like he's already an airbending master.
Yeah, I know.
Because he's got the tattoos.
Yeah, I knew that. I was wondering, like, did he? I don't think he mastered any of the other ones. I was water.
No,
water was the one I wasn't sure about. So.
No, probably once he got like older and he was like an adult, I would say he like mastered them.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, maybe not even adult, just like late teens.
Yeah.
Because like you said, Roku points out like it normally takes the Avatar years to master the elements, but like you only have 9 months. But I know you can do it because you've done it before.
Yeah.
And I like you see like Roku smiling and then it like fades to Aang smiling. Because obviously the implication is like, okay, I've done it. All the other avatars have done it, and like we're all you. So in a way, you've already done it.
Yeah, I like that.
Also, we find out the in Korra, the first Avatar, also had like a similar time limit.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So Roku means it in like 2 ways. One, in that like your other lives have mastered it, even though it took them longer. Like we're all still you, so in a way, you have still done it. And also, other avatars have had like a similar time limit.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I do like that. And again, like I was saying before, I love that Roku has like 100% faith in Aang.
Yeah, I like that.
Like he never questions Aang. He's like, Aang, I know you can do it. Like, I fucked up, but like I know you are destined to like be great and like make up for my fuck ups.
Yeah, I like that he has like a lot of faith in like Aang type of thing.
Yeah. And then he says like, hey Aang, like outside that door, like you're gonna be faced with like a big threat. And like I can help you, but only if you're ready. And I love what Aang he like enters the Avatar state and says, I'm ready.
And he starts glowing. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, like glowing blue. Yeah. This is cool because like this is like the only time Aang like intentionally, like before like Crossroads of Destiny and the Sozin's Comet.
Yeah.
This is like the only time Aang is like willingly entered the Avatar state.
Yeah, because I feel like he didn't really have a strong enough connection with Katara yet to really like not do it, so it kind of makes sense because they've only really seen each other for the past few months. And then I like that he's willingly doing it here because of this big threat that's around him and everything like that. So.
Yeah, well, I think he was able to do it because like he's like it's the winter solstice, so like the spirit world is like super close to the physical world.
Yeah.
I think he was able to do it because it's like of all the spiritual bullshit going on. Because remember, like when Roku takes over, it ends as soon as the solstice ends.
Yep.
So I think he was only able to do it because of like the solstice.
Yep.
Also, I do like how like Roku is like, all right, like solstice is ending. We have to go our separate ways. And Aang's like, well, what if I have to talk to you again? Because yeah, the only this conversation was really only about the comet. And Aang is like, I have like a million more questions.
Yeah.
Which is like fair. And Roku's like, don't worry, like we're the same person, so like we'll be able to like speak again.
Yeah, and I like that because they have spoken again since then. So like there was other ways they could have spoken, type of thing. So
yeah, like Aang by book 3, he's able to like kind of talk to Roku whenever he wants.
Yeah, he channels him like in like the end of the series finale, pretty much. So.
Yeah, even before that, I remember when he goes to Roku's island, he kind of just like sits and he's able to talk to Roku.
When he goes to Roku's what?
Island. Remember, like when he like the Avatar and the Fire Lord.
Oh yeah.
Remember, he goes to his home and then he's able to like connect with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
So, do I keep talking? Okay, I thought you took over.
Yeah, you're taking everything. So, you talk about everything else. So.
Okay, cool. So, Aang says I'm ready. The doors open and everyone just launches fire, and Katara and Sokka are like, "No, Aang, no!" And I love it's completely dark and you just see the glowing eyes, and you think, "Oh shit, Aang's in the Avatar state." Yeah. No, even cooler.
Oh, this is cool.
All the fire spins around. And you see motherfucking Avatar Roku there. The fucking dead man himself. He's like, I'm back, bitches. Call me Jesus, because it's my second coming.
He's got the same hairstyle, kind of, so. Yeah,
kind of. And I like how, I keep forgetting his name. The fire sage.
Shayu.
He's like, holy shit, Avatar Roku. And it is kind of funny Zuko's there, because, we end up finding out Zuko's his great-grandson.
Yeah, that was cool.
So Zuko got to meet his great-grandfather, didn't even know it. That didn't stop Roku, though, because Roku's like, fuck to this place and fuck everyone here.
Yeah, he destroys it. I think it made
sense. Well, actually, so I never noticed this the first time. Roku sends out, like, a little fire blast, and it, like, hurts everyone. But, like, he has such control that he's able to, like, not hurt Katara and Sokka. Like, he just melts their chains.
Yeah, I like that.
And if you notice, he didn't hurt Zuko either. Zuko was also chained up, and he just melted Zuko's chains.
Yeah, I like that.
So, I feel like that might have been a hint, because he didn't harm Zuko. Like, he hurt everyone else, but he didn't hurt Zuko.
Yeah, I like to think that was a little hint.
That, like, Roku didn't want to hurt his great-grandson, yeah.
I do like this, that he, like, destroyed the temple, too, just because, like, it feels like, he's not ashamed of it, but he's kind of ashamed of, like, what the sages, like, they didn't really protect the temple.
Yeah, he's like, this place was, like, my home, and you guys, like, worked for me, and now you've, like, perverted it, yeah.
Yeah, so I like that that's why he destroyed the temple. Either that or...
And it's cool, because we were... Sorry, go ahead.
Either that or he just was done with the temple, he doesn't feel the need to go there anymore, he's just done with it, type of thing.
Yeah, so. He's like, listen, 100 years, it's like, it's like if you go to your old home, it's like, I don't give a shit about this place anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I like that we were talking about him, like, bending magma. We see him do, like, he's, like, using the volcano to, like, melt the floor and, like, basically collapse the place. And we see, like, everyone gets out, but, like, the staircase is, like, just completely submerged in, like, lava.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super cool that, like, and, this is our first hint at, like, seeing, like, what, like a fully powerful Avatar can do.
Yeah, because we haven't seen that.
And Roku can just, like, shoot magma up and, like, fucking completely destroy the entire temple.
Well, we saw it in the first episode, part 2, kind of, with the water.
I wouldn't really consider that, because, like, Aang wasn't, like, a full Avatar. He was just, like, using the Avatar state.
That's true, yeah.
This is, like, just full on, like, this is Roku. This is what he could do.
Yeah.
Again, because we were talking about, like, Ben, Avatar, Danny, Goku, and Dragon Ball. Like, it's cool seeing, like, where they are at the beginning and, like, how powerful they get later in the show.
Yeah, I like that.
And this is something Aang could probably do, like, book 3.
Yeah, probably. I would say so.
Or, like, end of book 3.
Yeah, I think so.
So, like, kind of seeing, like, this is kind of, like, where Aang's going to end up. But, yeah, everyone runs for their lives. And, the solstice ends. We see the light leave Roku's, like, statue. A big gust of wind happens, and Roku disappears, and Aang comes back.
Yeah, and I like that Aang was, like, weak, kind of, from this type of thing.
Yeah, like took a lot of energy out of it.
Yeah.
Like, usually after he leaves the Avatar state, he's, like drained.
Yeah, this one seemed like it really drained him, type of thing.
And Owen doesn't know much about Korra, but I did tell Owen that I was really disappointed we didn't get, like, a similar scene in Korra. Like, it would have been really cool if, like, Aang took over Korra's body.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I would have liked that.
And, because, obviously it's Aang. I love Aang. But we never really got anything like that. And, like, it would have been fan servicey, but, like, fuck it. Nothing inherently wrong with fan service.
Yeah, I don't think so. Plus,
no,
we never really got to see Aang in the present as an adult, so that would have been cool.
Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, I think that was a missed opportunity that we never got, like, a scene in Korra that was, like, similar to this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aang and Katara and Sokka rush over to Aang and help him up. And I love this again, kind of what we talked about last episode. Sokka like was gonna go like, yeah, I'll fucking fight a god for you, Aang. Hell yeah! Like Sokka immediately like goes over to help Aang up, and Katara help him up.
Kind of says a lot about Sokka and Aang's relationship now too, 'cause from where they were.
Yeah,
episode 1.
yeah. I feel like I'm mentioning Sokka more than Katara just because like Sokka hated Aang at first,
Yeah.
and now he's like his brother, you know. And like of course Katara always has Aang's back.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how Aang is like, hey, where's Shayu? And they're like, we don't know. He probably just ran away with everyone else. Which again, that would be really cool. What if Shayu stuck with them?
Yeah, that would have been cool because the firemen and stuff and everything. So
yeah, but like I said, the staircase is filled with lava, so they don't know how to get out of here. MVP Momo, got Appa, so they were able to jump on the Appa and fly out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Zuko was able to get away, and all the craziness. And then Zhao and his men get back to their ship, and he's pretty pissed off. He's like, okay, I didn't get Zuko, I didn't get Aang. It's like he just woke up. It's a normal day, and then he just got like a 5-course meal, like the best meal he's ever had, right in front of him. Thanksgiving dinner. It's like, oh, it smells great. I can't look in. And then a dog came in and just shat everywhere.
Pretty much.
And he's like, this sucks.
What I do like about this too is he arrests the 5 sages, and like one of them even points out like, wait, but only Shayu helped the Avatar, but Zhao just doesn't care. He arrests them anyways.
He's like, I'm mad and I'm taking it out on every single one of you. And he's like, you can save your excuses for the Fire Lord. And we never see Shayu again.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to him. So
yeah, I don't know. I wonder if he died.
Yeah, because he doesn't show up at when they go to that prison in the Boiling Rock. He doesn't show up there. So
that would have been cool if he was there.
Yeah, I would have liked that. All the sages were there too. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like that Zhao arrested all of them, even though only Shayu like helped Aang. I like to think too.
Yeah.
He left that information like out when he told the Fire Lord about it. I was like, yeah, all these men just helped like Aang get into the temple.
And one of them was like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, shut up.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. But I love that the episode ends on like a somber note, because it's that night. There's a moon in the background, and we see Aang is just kind of like sitting off in the corner on Appa, and then Katara and Sokka kind of just like walk over to him and like hug him.
Yeah. Do you think he was just silent, or do you think he told them like off screen about him and Roku's conversation, and this is like...
Yeah, I think that's what happened. That's why like he told them, and then
yeah,
because that's not good news.
No.
Because he went to Roku thinking Roku would be able to help him and like tell him stuff, and it's like, so you have 9 months until the world ends. Have fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because Aang was already like feeling the pressure, and now it's like 10 times worse.
And what I do like about this is this carries over to like the waterbending school, like the beginning of the next episode. Like Aang's like stressed.
Yeah, where Aang's like freaking out. Yeah.
So I like that.
Because waterbending school was probably like the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that ending. Again, like crazy episode. I just love it end on like a very quiet note.
Yeah, and typically like the past few episodes, we've gotten like a comedic. Well, I guess not the last one, but like Boomy.
Well, even that was kind of like a oh shit kind of thing. This wasn't oh shit. This was very just like I was saying, quiet, somber, like sad almost.
And I feel like the audience is kind of sicking this into that they just found out this news. Like imagine the person, like imagine how Aang's feeling. Like he's the one that has to deal with it, type of thing.
I think this would be either Roku or like that shot of like the silhouettes where they're all like over the moon.
Oh, it'll be the thumbnail.
Yeah, so I'm saying either Roku or that. I feel like would be good thumbnail.
I'll be fine with that.
Maybe more Roku because that's cooler. But I'm just saying I like that. This crazy episode, this crazy 2-parter, ended on such a somber note.
Yeah, we haven't really had that yet. Like now, like because we haven't really seen moments like the Fire Nation lost control of like the villages the last episode. So like the Fire Nation I know they don't get like a win technically here, but it's like now it's like wow, the Fire Nation could really come back and like win.
Yeah. Like even though like they talked to Roku, they got out of there, like it feels like a loss,
Yeah, and especially too, I like that well like now like the plot for Avatar is like fully formed, like we knew Aang had to
like we have like everything we need. Like we know we gotta fight the Fire Lord and we know about the comet. Yeah.
And this is episode 7, right? Did you say 7?
8.
Oh, so 7 and 8 though, technically.
Yeah.
Remember we just did Kiss This. That was episode 7. We don't know shit about anything else there, but here we know everything now.
I know, right? Yeah, now we know everything we need. Yeah. So I give this episode A, same as last episode. I'm really torn on which one I like more. It kind of goes back and forth, I feel like, depending on my mood. Right now, I still feel like I like part 1 a little bit more.
So I'm gonna go S rank. I really like this episode. I think it breaks the
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we find out
enough.
a lot of new information here. We get the plot set up. I like finding out the information about the the 5 sages and the history of the temple. I liked the opening fight. I liked kind of like seeing Zhao and Zuko kind of go at it again, and the ending scene was really cool. And that it ends on. So I'm giving it the S rank actually. So
not bad. Yeah, if I give each individual episode an A, if I combined them like Winter Solstice as a whole, maybe not S, but I definitely an A+.
Where does mine go? Because I gave Blue Spirit an A, and I gave this. Is this like SA? I don't know what this is. So
yeah, I don't know. I guess wherever you feel like, yeah, that was an A. This is an S. Maybe it equals out to an A+.
So there you go.
Yeah, this is great. I feel like it's underrated. Like when people talk about like the Avatar 2-parters, I feel like this is the one that gets like talked about the least.
Yeah, I feel like probably because it's in like the middle of season 1, and then we talk about it. Season 1 has like very one-off-ish things, and it's kind of in the middle of all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
but like it's really fucking good.
Yeah,
I love it.
I love it too.
So
I mean,
definitely give it.
I think you love it so much. Oh, you love it so much. When I gave it the S rank, you didn't even like fight me on it. You were cool with it. Oh.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
Did you hear what I said?
No, you were frozen.
Oh, I was saying like you like this episode so much. When I gave part 2 the S rank, you didn't even fight me on it. You're like, yeah, cool, that's fine. So
yeah. No, I listen. Do not disagree whatsoever. It's fucking good. And I think it's interesting because I feel like for 2-parters, this is like the most different out of the Avatar 2-parters.
Yeah, definitely. And I like that.
Like they feel very unique.
Yeah. I will say that, by the way, what would have made this the S rank, by the way, part 2 anyways? Because obviously, you know.
I would have liked Aang and Roku's talk to go a little longer. And I wish we got a little bit more about the spirit world, because Sokka kind of just gets taken away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would have been kind of cool if we got a bit more about Hey Bye and all that stuff. Because I think the spirit world's cool.
Yeah, I feel like this isn't really this episode's problem. Maybe that should have happened here. Because, I think that's also why we lost a lot in the North Pole. Because most of part 2 of Sage of the North is in the spirit world, if you think about it, too.
Yeah. And also, I feel like the spirit world in general, I feel like doesn't get touched on as much as it should in Avatar.
What about in Korra? Well, yeah, right, because we
a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah.
Because one of the seasons is called Spirits, so.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're gonna end this off. But yeah, I feel accomplished though. We got to where we wanted to now in Avatar, which I'm pretty happy about.
Yeah. Danny, Bitter Reunions, Ben, Kevin 11, and Avatar Winter Solstice. We reached our goals. Well, it's funny. Our goal for the year. Well, your goal for the year was we'll finish them, and I'm like, really?
Well, to be fair, I didn't realize our lives were going to be what they were this year.
Yeah. But I was thinking end of season 1. And then, even if we didn't get that, once we set okay, we're going to meet this goal, we reached that. And I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I'm happy we did this. And yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of continuing. We have already made our goal for next year for Avatar, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think our goal was to get to Crossroads of Destiny, end of book 2.
Yeah, I think that's a fair goal. Especially with
what we're doing. Look forward to, because we kind of separated Danny, Ben, and Avatar quite a bit. But once we restart, we will likely be doing all 3 of them together once again.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we'll probably figure that out.
So look forward to that.
And then look forward because we have more goals that we want to continue with this year. And we might complete all of them these next couple of weeks. So look forward to that. That's gonna be the plug. I don't think I'm gonna plug anything else. That's the plug. So that's pretty much it, guys.
All right, bye.
We'll talk to you guys later.